What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah, guys, no Cowboy news pretty much. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. This is the long off season, the quiet off season. As we know, it always gets to this part of the off season where there's no practice. The players just doing their own thing. So, we got a couple of things to catch up on. Some best of that was kind of released this week, throughout the week. There's some fun stuff like that. A couple important things to note, like the main topic of the title today. So, we'll talk about all these guys at the bottom of your screen, and then CeeDee Lamb. On top of course, little Jerry, legalities, and other things going on. As we catch you up with basically 5 days, Cowboy news, info, and updates, and it's going to probably be an hour stream. So, with all that said, we also are finalizing 2 weeks here and crowning some maybe new champions or maybe some old champions. We'll see what happens. Either way, let's talk about that now before we get into the news, info, and updates for tonight's basically week-ending, Fan Friday, and weekend-ending, compilation stream here. So, baby, without further ado, let's shout out the people that make the thing go round, like the man from Australia repping that star for everything, LC, a.k.a. Lincoln Kane. Much love to him.
You, of course. Appreciate you.
One of our famed star-level members. Appreciate him. He's our sponsor of the week and also the king of the Cash App.
That's right.
Big shout out to Lincoln Kane, who currently is still in the lead on both of these to finish up 2 weeks here. So if he holds on to those two titles there, he will be back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. Big shout out there. I guess Godless lost his image because currently Godless Manitoban is running it right now. The Stream Boss with 18 points on the Stream Boss.
Says boss image. So, it's okay. He's just...
He's there. He's there, I guess. I was going to check to see if I do this. Maybe take off the Stream Boss. I guess it's not listening to me right now. And I put on, there it is off, but now let me see if I put it back on. And maybe it'll be kind of set up right. Itself. Yeah, who knows? This thing is going so poorly right now. But either way, there it is. Still boss image. But Godless Manitoman is the boss of the stream. And appreciate him hanging on for like 2 weeks as the stream boss. Only from Canada, repping that star.
That's right.
And don't forget the champion of the gifting membership. It is the man, Jet Li 44. 8 out of the last 9 weeks, he's been the top dog there. So big shout out to Jet Li. But currently, he's not on the board. It's Skeptical Fan and Brandon J. Tied for one. So we're going to see who wins that. Maybe tonight we'll have a new champion. So definitely it's panned up there. If you want to if you got to be in the memberships, if you want to gift memberships, but that it's definitely up for grabs tonight. We'll see about the Cash App and the sponsor of the week, though. And, of course...
Speaking of course.
18 points, I'm just saying, for Godless is definitely attainable as well. So we'll see what happens here tonight as we wrapping up another week. But let's also shout out people that dropped the love here the last 5 days or so, whether it was through here somehow, membership, or through the After Dark sessions, which have been, here and there lately. Big shout-outs to Grateful Nomad, McLovin, Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights, Pat Pfeiffer, Chill Pill, Dead Fool, Tammy Soltis, who's back in the membership, that navy blue. We got Sco971, who also dropped a little love. So thank you all for being part of the stream here, part of the channel in some way, shape, form, or fashion, even when we're not live. But I want to shout everybody out on that side. Also shout out the different ways you can drop the love here on My Cowboys Family, whether it's super chats or a thanks button after video posts, or jumping into memberships, like I said, like Tammy Soltis did, or gifting memberships, like Jet Li, who's in the 8 out of 9 weeks. But we got a battle going up there with Skeptical Fan and Brandon J for first place. So tonight we will crown some champions. But there's different ways of dropping the love there, and also on the Cash App crown side, right? Where there's 4 different ways you can try to challenge the current champion and leader, Lincoln Kane, on the Cash App side. So maybe what are the different ways you can drop the love there? Usually the After Dark crew drops it that way.
Yeah, you can see it right there on the screen. You have, of course, the Cash App, money side, My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen like a super chat does.
And since today is kind of like a Fan Friday, since we didn't do it, let's give out the shout outs to those that deserve it the most here in the silver the star and over everything levels, right?
That's right.
So like Mr. A. Lavelle, silver level champ, really, because 48 months. 48 months. That's 3
the
years.
longest standing member
Yeah, that's
of
3
MCF.
years, I think, here.
No, it's 4.
4 years, shit. Silver level representing 4 years since we had the membership, basically. So that's crazy. And we appreciate you, Mr. Lavelle. Also, we got the star level.
Of course, like, I thought you were going to
No,
keep going there for a second, but there we go. We have Skeptical Fan, of course, Jet Lee 44, Lincoln Kane, Mr. LC, Marissa Sparkle, The Lunatic, and Over Everything.
Yeah.
C. Bass.
Yes, and if you're wondering, all these names and, they're part of the star and over everything crew there, the membership. Navy blue and silver, too. We put some new emojis up so you can refresh your screens if you've been on here. And you can see the new emojis dropped, whether they're anti-Packers, anti-Niners, anti all the teams we hate, So go and drop them if you want. That's all the membership, right? Navy blue, silver, star, and over everything. But every month, we just did ours for June recently. In a couple weeks, it'll be July. It will be training camp. And it will be the July monthly jersey raffle. Sewn and stitched jerseys, your choice of whatever's available. I think Tyler Guyton's available, even rookies.
Yeah.
Some old school, new school, different styles right there. But not just a star and over everything, but like the weekly winners also get a vote here. Not a vote, but a members an entry to this raffle. And as you see here, LC currently getting in there. Looks like he's going to get a raffle entry if he wins this one here to take the first half of July and be one of the weekly winners. So we'll see what happens there. But we do those at the end of the month, maybe a week after the end of the month to see who's the champion there on the monthly jersey raffle. Star level gets 1. Over everything gets 2 entries. And, of course, weekly winners, each weekly winner gets an entry as well. Bonus entry. Anyways, that's that part of things. Let's talk about who's in the house tonight in the chat.
Of course.
As we discuss a little this, a little that of our Dallas Cowboys.
An extra special shout out to the man, C. Bass.
The over everything crew right there.
Cracking me up, he said, F. Green Bay, toast, melon, cheesehead. Rolando Rodriguez, much love all the way from Texas. And hopefully all you Texas people are staying safe out there. I know the Houston area is still dealing with a lot of side effects from the hurricane and power outages and things like that. So please, guys, stay safe and take care. We have Jared Jones here in the house, who, by the way, said, dropped the love and got a kid in return. So we can guarantee no children will be created from dropping love here.
But Jera, you're in the news and our news tonight, so stay tuned. You want to hear this.
Glimmerman, what's up? Long time no see. Thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah.
Stephen White representing, bringing the heat. Nate Rosario, not really Spider-Man people, so I guess Green Goblin. Just throwing that out there. The first one. Asmodeus, much love. All the way from Tennessee.
Hell yeah.
Right, we have, let me see.
Repping
Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, what's
DB.
up?
Another DB.
Jet Lee 44 representing here in the house. Skeptical Fan always. Staying skeptical, saying Jerry needs to put a hypnotist stipulation in CD's new contract. So hypnotize him into catching
Jerry
a
needs
ball.
to wake up from his coma is what we need.
Little Dallas Cowboy, hello and hi. We have Tornado, what's up? Double R, salute to you.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think that's everyone here so far. Of course, there's more people rolling
I
up.
saw MCF After Dark Part 2 is out there, too.
Oh, wait a minute. How could I forget? Godless Manitoban. Hello and hi. Thanks for coming through and saying hi.
Yeah. So, a lot of people in the house. Appreciate you all. Let's get rolling on it. Probably, it's a 5-day kind of, bunch of news and info from our Cowboys, but you'll see you're going to be done in like an hour with this here, or maybe less. And that's with discussions and everything.
Definitely looking forward to, guys, we're only about a week away
10
from
days.
having actual football news to discuss on the daily, on the regular.
Remember,
once more.
On the 23rd, the Cowboys leave Dallas of July. We're talking about, 9-10 days away. So we're right at the cusp of training camp. I'm ready. You ready? We all ready. But let's first hit up the NFL news of the day, of the week, basically, at least everything after Tuesday, and of the weekend. Some media news. Former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick is, who's a guy that we've been talking about. Hey, maybe we can bring him into Dallas next year after McCarthy probably gets the boot. Belichick is officially this season joining Inside the NFL for this year. The show returns on the CW, believe it or not. I did not know that. Yeah, but they return on August 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern on the CW. It's going to be with Ryan Clark, Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, Chris Long, and Belichick said, quote, "I'm thrilled to join my new team at NFL Films and to work with such a historic television franchise. et cetera, et cetera. So Belichick for this year, he's working some media stuff there. CW working with inside the NFL and doing other things as well. Maybe before he comes to Dallas. That's what we've been hoping for here in Dallas. Hoping that'd be this year, but not yet. We'll have to wait and see one more year and see what happens. Belichick, he'll be floating around there as an option for the Cowboys if McCarthy don't win the Super Bowl.
This is obviously his football gap year, so to speak, and at least he'll be staying on the up and up on what's happening in the league doing this too. Yep, not like McCarthy, just sitting home on his couch. They can watch him film.
There's one thing we know about Belichick. He really does watch the film. Now, Bernie Kosar, if you guys know him, a former Browns quarterback, he's battling liver failure right now and Parkinson's disease. Which again, he's on the now he's on a liver transplant list, and he's trying to embrace also some natural remedies. All the luck going sent towards Bernie Kosar, and hopefully he gets through this. A guy who's not so lucky. This is shocking. Ravens Super Bowl star. He ran back the kickoff in the opening kickoff in the second half for the Ravens in the Super Bowl, which they eventually did win. Jacoby Jones, a recent player. He's dead. At the age of 40.
So young.
Yeah. He's going to be remembered, of course, for that mile-high miracle that happened in Denver in the playoffs. So they came back, and they were down. It was like 28 seconds left, and it was 15 seconds, and Flacco, launched it. Jacoby Jones caught it. He ran in the end zone and got him to basically the Super Bowl. Scored 2 touchdowns in the Ravens Super Bowl victory over the Niners and Kaepernick. Like I said, I think the second half opening kickoff return taken all the way from Jacoby Jones. Sorely missed, 40 years old. And, I try to look this up. Maybe somebody else has the information, but I don't know what he passed from. No one's really said anything yet.
I'm almost positive, if I'm not mistaken, as of now, there hasn't been any cause of death released. He passed in his sleep.
Wow.
So, don't really know any more information than that.
Not good. Not good. That sounds like it's, at 40 years old.
Yeah,
just passing your sleep, so we'll be watching that, see what they say about that.
Exactly, and then like Mike Aldana said, he just recently celebrated his birthday too.
Yep,
so
3 days ago.
Absolutely wishing the best to him and his family, obviously, but what a tragic situation, Yeah,
his family got to be suffering, struggling right now, to seeing their 40-year-old man die like that. Again, crazy. So now going over to the Minnesota Vikings. Now we know, before we go to the Vikings, we know, of course, crazy attempted murder of the president, assassination of the president, of the former president, Donald Trump, who I'm not a fan of at all, but at least don't want to ever see something like that happen. So thank goodness he's okay. But we do also know that there was a couple of Vikings that died recently, Minnesota Viking players. Kyrie Jackson, who's a rookie 4th-round pick from the Vikings, he got killed. With him and his former teammates, Anthony Litton and Isaiah Hazel. They died in a car crash, which we talked about earlier in the week, of course. I think on Tuesday we talked about that. They had a vigil for the 3 guys that passed away. 2 people were shot at the vigil for the Vikings rookie and his former teammates.
What the hell?
Yeah, so craziness going on there in Minnesota. Moving on to another Minnesota player. Listen to this. Vikings star receiver, one of their star receivers, Jordan Addison, was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving after he was caught asleep at the wheel near Los Angeles Airport, LAX.
Ouch.
He was found in a white Rolls Royce blocking the number 1 lane of the freeway, and he was, quote, asleep behind the wheel. He was arrested at 11:36 p.m. and was
He's not dead.
Yeah, and he was later released at 1:36 a.m., 2 hours later, basically, following the completion of a DUI investigation. But this comes just 6 days after Kyrie Jackson and his 2 teammates were involved in that deadly car wreck. So Minnesota got to get their heads out their ass, I guess, some of these guys. So one guy who definitely needs to get something out of something is Tyreek Hill. A Florida judge, guys, just ruled that Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill is the father of another child, healthy baby girl. But guys, Tyreek Hill has reportedly over 12 children already, and this is his 5th child this year so far. 5th child. Remember, this is just weeks after Tyreek Hill announced that him and his wife are expecting a child. Again, another woman having, a I mean, it's mind blowing to me.
I feel like at this point,
it's Phillip Rivers, but like
needs to have like a sexual education class or something, because we clearly skipped that day in high school. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, shows you the importance of sex ed there. Or
maybe really bad for him when his football money runs out at some point.
Yeah, that's 12 kids. His 5th this year. I don't even know what to say. Now, obviously, he's on a free pass situation there with the wife. But one little piece of actual news.
That's the same lady that tried to burn down his house, by the way.
I don't know. I don't think she was trying to burn down his house. That wasn't the claim. But she was on that Hard Knocks. She got some food spilled on some nachos spilled on her head or something like that. So, but anyways, only one real NFL worthy news as far as players moving places. There's a couple guys that moved here and there, unknown for the most part, not that important. One guy a little more important, especially has a little history with flirting with us of coming here. Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams signed with the Tennessee Titans. They're going to give him a 1-year deal. And he's reunited with Denard Wilson, who was his defensive backs coach during the Pro Bowl seasons that he had in 2018 and 2019. Jamal Adams' deal with the Tennessee Titans is, of course, a 1-year deal, but it is a veteran salary benefit deal. So it's only $1.125 million guaranteed, and he gets like $1.4 million guaranteed. So, but the team,
one of those cheap
deals. That's a good deal for. To me, it's a good deal for Jamal Adams, who's not with Jamal Adams of the past. Still, though, veteran leadership to me is a good pickup for the very, very cheap price of $1.125 million on the cap. So
I agree,
it's a low risk. It's a low risk, potentially high reward situation.
I'm just saying, like those types of deals though make our front office think that they can do that for every deal in every position.
And they make it sound like, hey, if we do this for 15 players, we'll have a Pro Bowl team. We'll hit on 12 of them, and they'll be superstars. Yeah, it doesn't happen that way, Jerry and Steven. So, again, Tennessee trying to get rejuvenated here with an older veteran like Jamal Adams, but we'll see what happens. I think, personally, it is a good deal, but, again, you can't expect the Jamal Adams of Pro Bowl years to show up anywhere, in my opinion. Now, we also have... Now, as we go into the Cowboy news section of things, we had another passing here. Monty Kiffin, 84 years old. He passed away peacefully a couple days ago in Oxford, surrounded by his family and friends. Monty Kiffin, his name sounds familiar, he did coach in the NFL for nearly 30 years, including mainly known for the Buccaneers and his coaching style there. But he had a short stint with the Cowboys about a decade ago. And again, this was announced on Thursday by Ole Miss, where his son Lane Kiffin is currently the head coach. Monty Kiffin spent the 2013 season as the defensive coordinator as part of Jason Garrett's staff. 2013. The Cowboys finished that year 8-8 and missed the playoffs on the final week of the season. Kiffin was also part of the Cowboys staff in 2014. He was running the show on defense. But he kind of was he was running the show, but Rod Marinelli was the guy to replace him. Yeah. He was on the staff as well, Marinelli, who was technically the defensive coordinator, but Monty Kiffin was like his manager in a way. Like he would help kind of get the transfer. He was below him, but he was kind of the transition guy for him. So they kind of worked together. But basically, Kiffin was our defensive coordinator for 1 year. Marinelli took over with kind of Kiffin watching him or under him, and that's how that went. Then he retired, I think, officially. So again, our thoughts going out to Monty Kiffin's family, of course.
A lot of loss recently, unfortunately.
Part of the Cowboys coaching staff there for a year. I say 2 years basically, but so I did want to say before we get to the Jerry Jones segment of Jerry Jones segment of things, I did want to say that for our 2024 Cowboys, we're taking the field for the first time. We kind of said this a minute ago. We're taking the field for the first time, basically I'm talking about the football field for a game, in under 1 month. And it's going to be against the Rams at SoFi Stadium in the first game of the preseason. So we're almost there just for a preseason game. We're less than 10 days away for the start of training camp. At least the players flying out to training camp, setting up in training camp, getting checked in on. They fly out on the 23rd, check in. 24th, they do some of the some testing, physicals, make sure they're not. We also know which players are PUP players, PUP players, and all that. And then the next day, the 25th, will be the first actual practice, but it won't be pads till the weekend or even after. So again, we're gonna get revved up here starting on 23rd when the Cowboys fly out. But Jerry Jones been revved up for a while with his exploits, I guess you can say.
Wasn't it Jerry in the chat who said he dropped the love and ended up with the kid?
Yeah,
so
that's basically what happened. I mean,
we do, unfortunately, at least for her, have an update on his legal situation with his.
We gotta get a little background there.
Child.
Yeah, he had a little his kid trying to, get
basically
some of the loot,
some of the loot for paternity.
Yeah.
So she's suing to establish paternity. If you guys don't recall, though, her mother signed an agreement with Jerry, basically saying, "All right, you don't establish paternity, you don't force me to admit this is my child, and I will pay you bucket loads of money." So the agreement was found to be invalid when she obviously started to pursue as an adult. Hey, Jerry, you're my daddy. So basically the court is, trying to argue the paternity. That's like one separate suit. But the breaching of the agreement is another one. And that's the part that the judge actually sided with Jerry, saying that Jerry Jones's agreement with her mother was valid. So 2 rulings made recently were unsealed this past Thursday. And one of the decisions says that the 1998 settlement agreement by the woman's mother entered on her behalf is not a violation of Texas public policy. The judge said that the settlement is valid and it doesn't go against public policy, saying that the Texas law is clear. A parent or a legal guardian can enter a legal agreement on behalf of their child.
So the child, even though the child doesn't have a say, that's allowed in Texas.
Yes. So also writing that the woman, Alexandra Davis, hasn't shown any interest, and that her interests could be, quote, potentially adverse, or that her interests were potentially adverse before she turned 18. Long story short, did she feel this way? Like, did she actually want to know that Jerry was her dad from a legal perspective before she turned 18, or is this just now that she's an adult and older type of situation? So, again, in less than 2 weeks, it's going to go to a jury trial, and they're going to hear Jerry Jones's counterclaims, basically saying, remember, he's suing her for defamation. He's accusing them of breaching that agreement that was signed in 98, basically saying, again, support you through childhood and early adulthood as long as you don't try to claim I'm your daddy.
Well, again, and I will say this. Jerry Jones, he's winning the money situation, and I think he's going to win, when it comes to being the richest team in the NFL and sports franchises right now, but he's also winning. He's going to be winning this suit, I think, because of the ruling backing up the 98 ruling that he's allowed to do this, and his the baby mom was also allowed, agreed to this.
It's still going to a jury though, which means the jury could ultimately decide differently.
True, but I'm just saying, like, when you go back to the precedent set by this judgment by the federal judge that was made back in 98. They have very little to stand on, don't you think?
Yeah.
When it comes to, I'm talking about mother and child, don't have a lot to stand on when this old ruling has been upheld. So I think that they're now fighting an uphill battle.
So, and I do kind of want to throw this out there. One of the counterclaims by the woman and her lawyer basically saying it's kind of messed up that the judge basically said that it's okay if rich parents can waive away their paternity just because we signed some agreement. Like that, it does go against the right of the child to know who their father is just because Jerry was rich enough to get this lady to sign the agreement. Means that basically any rich person can start having love children, get an agreement like this, and not be forced to, be a legal parent. However that far that goes. So
that goes though. Can't really help that,
I know. We'll have to see what the
rich
court
or not. That's the way it goes.
Deciding,
they
but
do have an advantage.
Yeah, definitely always have an advantage when you're Richie rich.
Wealthier. Yes. So
billionaire rich is more than Richie rich.
What is up, Mr. Mark Hovsepian in the house?
Mahalo.
Big time. Only from Hawaii, repping that star, and he is in 20th place on the board, just like that, as we're wrapping up another week here. But Mark Hovsepian dropped the $5 holler, and baby, what did the man say?
He said, "What's up with Hilton? We got another hype guy?" The way I see it is, unless he's true competition for our number 2, it's okay, but our number 3 wide receiver and depth are unproven or bust. So I am a little confused, Mr. Hovsepian. I don't think we got any Hiltons on the team currently.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I know there's always rumors out there going around when it comes to
I think that rumor is all hype.
Yeah, that sounds like a completely made up rumor. I don't even see T.Y. Hilton making. If you're talking about T.Y. Hilton, please clarify. But I don't think T.Y. Hilton's coming to Dallas at all. And even if he did come to Dallas, he would not be challenging for any first, second, or third spots. I doubt he even challenges Tolbert. The reason the Cowboys would never bring in T.Y. Hilton, in my opinion, or any veteran guy like that's already past his prime, like way past his prime, because Jerry Jones wants to work on his guys.
Yeah.
So again, maybe he's meeting Tolbert is what he's talking about. I don't know. But Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, those are Jerry's guys. Those are the guys Jerry wants to see fight for that third and fourth spot. He don't want no old man T.Y. Hilton playing half a season on this team, taking their snaps away.
Yeah, not to make our offseason any more exciting than it already has been, but there has been no moves made by the Cowboys in the last few days.
The moves that have been made, other than Eric Kendricks and a couple of our own guys re-signed, there's been no moves. Yes, we got a couple USFL guys. Whoop-de-flucking-do. Like, I think Mark agrees with me that's some hype bullshit, practice squad fighting, depth right there. That ain't those guys, if they have a good practice, Jerry's going to say, see, didn't need this guy, didn't need Tyron Smith, didn't need that guy. We don't need any. That's the kind of shit that happened. We know the routine. Mark knows the routine. We know the routine. We've gone through this where we see them getting a Farniok, and then, Brock Hoffman beats Farniok out. That's what we're talking about here. So anybody who beats out Brock Hoffman's our starter. I'm not saying that Cooper Beebe is not going to be a good starter. Hopefully he is for us. But Cooper Beebe is going up against Brock Hoffman and T.J. Bass. Both these guys are undrafted players from last year. So the level, the bar is very low for Jerry for to have the competition aspect and say, look how proud I am about these guys. They're not beating out, Travis Frederick. They're beating out, undrafted guys. And Mark dropping another $1-2 holler.
That's right. A big mahalo, Mark.
Moving on up.
Shit, sorry, it was someone else I heard. All good, Mark. Again, that's one of the reasons why we do these streams, to make sure to clarify.
Always hear the name
any kind of shenanigans that are out there.
Yeah, please let me know the name that you've heard. I just know not to listen to too many of those rumors, because I've seen a lot of people post about rumors and how they this could happen, that could. I've seen a lot of these like kind of channels.
And I admit we used to get a little bit more generally excited about some of these rumors in the earlier MCF days.
And again, you remember though, when we've done our rumors, like those kind of like rumors or thoughts, that was our thoughts. That's what we thought would help this team. And I could understand people, not Mark necessarily, but saying people getting, the fan base getting excited about a move here, a move there. I mean, we've learned after 7 years on YouTube, in our 8th year right now, 8th season on YouTube, we've learned you just don't hold your breath for any kind of big moves from these guys. They ain't going to do them. They're going low level. They're going UFL right now. That's where we're going. UFL. We got 2 guys from the UFL. Worked out 8 guys, and we signed 2 of those from the UFL. That's the high quality guys Jerry goes after. It works. It works with guys like Brandon Aubrey, special teams. Kavontae Turpin, special teams. But it doesn't work with the linebacker we got, the edge rusher we got, or this cornerback we got. Exactly. It ain't going to work for those guys. And, you might get lucky here and there, but you're just not going to get lucky every time. And you don't have enough. We didn't do enough to rely on a couple of guys getting through and getting lucky. A couple of guys getting through and getting lucky is not going to save this team, in my opinion. So, I preaching to the choir, the man Marco Sapien. Appreciate that comment there and just the clarification, I guess. But let me know if you do remember the name of some of the rumors. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, probably most of these is going to be a no, knowing the Cowboys front office, knowing the way the Cowboys run things. And we all know how that is. Never good.
I mean, let's be honest. Right now, as we get closer to training camp, the things that are catching most people's attention are Dak's health currently. If you guys were here for our last live stream and stuff, we discussed the whole boot situation.
That's over with. Thank goodness.
Now that's over with. But everyone's still kind of keeping an extra eye out. And, of course,
CEEDEE.
Sedarius Lamb.
Yeah.
Where are you? It's like a game of Where's Waldo?
We're going to talk about a couple of these things here in a couple of minutes here as we kind of get... Listen, there's a lot of top 10 stuff going out, so we're going to touch on some of that stuff. But I do want to do... I say top 10, I mean players currently in the league. But let me touch on real quick the top 10 best non-divisional. Non-divisional. I'm talking about Cowboys and Washington or Cowboys and Eagles. I'm talking about non-divisional rivalries in NFL history. I'll tell you what they are in a minute. But first, the man Marco Sepien speaks with that 5 on it as he's moving up the board.
I have a feeling I know what's on the top of that list. But mahalo, Marco Sepien. Appreciate you at that $5 holler. I think you're like a handful away from, Godless Manitoban's got 6 points left on that stream, boss.
Marco, maybe he may be coming for that top spot.
Do you know what Mark had to say?
What did he say?
I still don't see what Jerry Jones is doing. We will be okay and competitive, but I don't see him making moves to take us over the top.
That's...
San Francisco, Detroit, Philly, and Green Bay are good.
Yep.
Clowns.
Better than us, that's for sure.
And again, out of all those teams you mentioned, I mean, those are absolutely going to be some of the most dominant teams in the NFC, right? Not just because of the current roster moves they made during the offseason, but that's the whole point. They stacked on top of the success that they already had. So,
yeah, I mean,
they're not just going to be competitive. They're not just trying to stay in the mix the way that we seem to be.
It's those last words. He said that last word he wrote, clowns. That's what defines this organization for the last 28 plus years, unfortunately. And that's just we're not being haters, we're being real haters. Because you can't listen, Jerry Jones can blow smoke up our asses. We've been talking about this for 7 years on this damn channel. Nothing ever changes. So, listen, no idea what he's doing. No idea what this whole all-in thing means. Obviously, it's BS. But the Niners, the Eagles, the Packers are close to our level, even though they beat us. I mean, we play again, we probably beat them 7 out of 10 times. But the point is that there's definitely 3 teams better than us and 4 teams that are improving. That 3 are above us, 1 that's right with us, and they've made moves to get better. We have stayed the same. And that's the sad part.
One thing has not stayed the same. We do have a new stream boss. Mahalo Marco Sepien with a $7 holler.
That's right. He took it over, and he's part of that stream boss, and he's also, I think he's moving up this board pretty quickly, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I think he's 13th right now. I mean, he was at 20th when he started this thing. So, again, you never know. It's a little bit away for the run.
Before I read Mark's comment here real
16,
quick, when it comes
16.
to our whole front office situation, exactly, it does not feel like this team is trying to win. It feels like they're doing just enough so that you can't call this like a throwaway year, since we're going to be restarting and resetting everything with McCarthy leaving and maybe Dak or whatever the heck, you know what I mean? So but thank you, Marco Sepien. He said, I'd rather endure daily prostate exams than deal with Jerry Jones and his bullshit logic on the cap. We were close. Re-sign Hankins and Gilmore, and then 2 free agent studs, and we're Super Bowl bound. Again, the adjustments needed on this team were not, let's reset the whole fucking team, let's redo the whole market on any position. Listen, it wasn't necessary.
Hankins was basically $1.6 million. Well, he would have been, $300,000 more than the veteran salary minimum. So Hankins was a cheap deal. I think he was up to maybe $2 million. That's if he stayed healthy the whole year, and that's if he started over a percentage of snaps. The guy probably wouldn't have hit the $2 million mark. He would have hit the 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 in the cap. And that's too much for Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. That's what they admitted to. They admitted that they were interested in him. They wanted to get him. And we found out what Seattle's deal was for him. It was embarrassing. That was an attempt. That's what Seattle paid him, 1.3 plus a chance to get incentives up to $2 million. That's too much for Hankins, who is an emergency need when you have Mozzie. We don't know what he's going to look like this year, and then 2 rookies behind him, 1 undrafted and 1 7th rounder. That's what we got at nose tackle. Think about that. Zimmer can only do so much. Like I was saying with Quinn, if you don't get guys in there that they want, then you're going to fail. So, again, you look about Gilmore. He's out there. I know he's still looking for a team, Gilmore. But he's probably over asking for his range. Obviously, nobody wants Gilmore right now, and he's still rehabbing that shoulder. So people are looking for a deal with Gilmore. What I'm hearing from the Cowboys aren't even interested. The Cowboys aren't even interested in bringing Gilmore in. Like they're not even checking. They're not even doing due diligence on Gilmore. So there's your answers on those two guys. The Hankins thing, which they wanted him and didn't want to spend an extra $100,000. That makes no fucking sense. And then, of course, the Gilmore situation, which is still out there. And as of right now, maybe tomorrow they change their mind and they say, hey, let's go check out Gilmore. Or maybe they just continue doing what they've been doing. And it's like, let's ignore Gilmore. Who's Gilmore again?
Exactly.
That's what it feels like with this crew of scrubs called the Dallas Cowboy front office.
Yeah, skeptical and Mike Aldana basically saying the same thing. Jerry does just enough to get us in the wild card. He's not spending any real money to help this team. Now, Griff181 did say, are the Eagles in Detroit better than us? I beg to differ. I think
Detroit is right there. Also with us.
They just in a freaking championship game?
I mean, the Eagles are, I know, it's hard because when the Cowboys play well, we can be the second team. But when we did some of the year, we beat the Eagles, we beat the Lions. I'm just saying, like, we beat these teams you're talking about. Now, we lost to Green Bay in the playoffs. That's, to me, not just the players. That's a mindset from the coach. That's something that comes down from the top down, from the front office who do not accept. They don't have any kind of responsibilities. There's no repercussions. So what does the coach think? We got this. What does the players think? We got this. Because, hey, it's allowed by the front office. That's just something it's been bothering me since the beginning of Jerry Jones.
See, the Eagles, I might give you that one in the sense of, I do think we are better than the Eagles. They've had a better offseason, though. I'm sorry. Detroit was, I should say, better than us this past season, and the offseason moves they've made continue to keep them above us. So how am I, I don't know how else I'm supposed to
I think it's not, I don't want to just look at like last year. I think you made a great point by saying the Eagles, even though we're probably better than the Eagles, they made moves this offseason. They're probably better than us now. Yeah. The Lions didn't make a crazy amount of moves, but they made moves. We didn't do fuck shit. That's the problem with the Cowboys. Like, we did not keep up with the Joneses. And that's the problem. The Joneses fell asleep at the wheel. And they wanted to. It wasn't like, we fucked up or we made a bad move. No, they just don't care. They just want to save all this money. Because this might be a hard rebuild, believe it or not. We call it soft rebuild because we got some names on here. I don't know what direction we're heading with this team, so it's hard to see. When you look at the top 10 non-divisional rivalries, that's why I added, and also Seabass asked for some of those emojis up there, but you can drop them like it's hot if you want. The number one, by the 33rd team, per Marcus Masha, the number one best NFL non-divisional rivalry in history, the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. So
that was my first guess, but I'm just saying, I'm like, I could be wrong.
I was thinking background, like, the Ice Bowl, but that's too old. The Green Bay Packers, that's kind of starting up. I was thinking the Steelers with the Super Bowls. We hate them. But number one is the Cowboys and the Niners. Number two, the Cowboys and the Steelers. Yeah. Third one, the Green Bay and San Francisco. Fourth is Pittsburgh and the Raiders. Fifth, Cowboys and Green Bay.
We're half this list.
Hey, right now, out of 5 battles, we're in 3 of them. These divisional rivalries. Sixth best is the Patriots and Colts. Bills and Chiefs are next. It doesn't matter. The rest of them, I don't give a shit because it's not the Cowboys. But out of the top 5, Cowboys got 3 of the top out-of-division rivalries in history, according to most people, I'll say. What's up to the man Mark Hovsepian with that $2 holler?
Ooh.
What did the man say? Hit me up with that.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Mark said, I'll have an orgy with 2 non-binary midgets before Jerry Jones helps. Man, Mark, I guess for your sake, I hope Jerry doesn't help. I'm not really sure what... I don't... are you going to take one for the team, Mark? Is that what you're telling us?
I think he's saying that will happen. He'll be more... There's more of a chance that would happen than Jerry Jones actually helping.
What if that's what needs to happen for Jerry to help the team?
Hey,
that's what I said. Does Mark need to take one for the team?
The entire future is in Mark Hovsepian's hands as we speak. As we speak. Good luck with that,
sorry, Mark. You cracked me up with your...
I can't watch this clown show anymore. I gotta get get them off my screen. Yes, his Where he comes up with these things, only Mark Hovsepian knows. Thank you, brother.
Shout
Appreciate
out to
you.
Mark. Appreciate you always.
And I know. I'm still going to say go Cowboys. All the way from Hawaii. All the way from Hawaii. Now, I do want to say, as we get into the tops, right? We talk about the top 10 rivalries.
Yeah.
Well, starting on defense, there was some of these NFL executives, scouts, and coaches that kind of go around. I think players do it too, and they give their mentions of the top 10 at each position.
Okay.
And we talked about some of these earlier. I think on Tuesday we did 1 or 2 positions. But now we're going to go into a bunch of them since we skipped a couple days. I'm not going live to tell you what some PFF ranking is, but since we're live now, we'll talk about it real quick. And I'm going to start on defense mainly with the safeties. All right, and not corners, but safeties here. Donovan Wilson was not named as one of the top safeties in the NFL. But he was an honorable mention. Malik Hooker should have been an honorable mention. He did have another kind of, again, he had 2 back-to-back good seasons with the Cowboys, Malik Hooker. So, both got one guy, Malik Hooker, no honorable mention. Donovan Wilson, definitely an honorable mention as one of the, after the top 10 safeties. I think he was the next one on the list. So, look. We got two top 13, top 15 safeties starting back there in the back end with Mike Zimmer, who's a defensive backs specialist, coach, as our defensive coordinator, but he's also his specialty is defensive backs. So we got Al Harris back there. I still feel good with Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson, even if they want to throw in there honorable mention and close to honorable mention, on these guys. We're good at safety. When you look behind them, you got Marquise Bell. You got Israel Mukuamu. And you got, I'm sure I'm missing a couple guys I don't know why I can't think of right now that are also bad. Wanye Thomas, what am I talking about? He's third on that list. I'm saying these guys we got 5 good safeties back there rolling around. So we only use 2 though. We don't use 3 like we did with Dan Quinn. So safeties, will all 5 make the team? We shall wait and see. Now, I do want to move to cornerback for a quick second, and Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs, guys, you used to watch a lot of videos I've been posting. Des Bryant's son, some Trey Lance stuff. But you see Trayvon Diggs really, he's putting a lot of information, a lot of footage out there of him really go all out. He's got that left.
It's in a nice little preview before training camp to see how he's been progressing.
He looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you see him with the sleeve on his left leg, but it's for his left ACL, and he's cutting. He's doing a lot of moves. He did some sand work. He also did some work, on a field, doing sharp cuts and a lot of like the ladder and all that stuff. So he's working out. He's working out with? He's working out at the Sanders Performance Center, but he's working out with our defensive backs coach, Al Harris. That's the key here. So it's not like he has his own special coach he's working with off-season. He literally, he's working with our own coach here to get him back to 100% from that torn left ACL last year. So Al Harris, our coach, is working with him on the daily, and you'll see comments on these videos from, let's say, CeeDee Lamb saying, "Dat boy again." Micah Parsons said, "Fire, 7-11 is back. It's time." Donovan Wilson, he said, "It's time." And, of course, he put a little ninja emoji there. It's time, ninja.
It's time, homie.
Yeah, so, again, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Donovan Wilson, they cannot wait the return of the great Trayvon Diggs, baby. And, hey, we got the return of the man, Mark Hovsepian, with that 5 on it. And I'm pretty sure the man just jumped a couple of people on the board with that last drop right there. Tell me what the man had to say, baby.
I am tough on Dak and others, but I will pleasure myself with sandpaper or have that midget party for Jerry Jones to do the right thing. Filming it is another matter.
Whoa.
If you got to put that
lasts
to film,
forever.
I think Jerry's got to pay up for that one. Right?
Jerry got his
an
own
exclusive video feature.
Can you live with that though, Mark? Knowing that Jerry Jones is gonna be thinking about you in the shower every morning. Oof.
I think if we got another Super Bowl, he could. Just saying.
Really?
Just speculating.
Oof-ah.
Thank you so much, Mark Hovsepian. Mahalo to you. Although, not to hurt your feelings, I'm not sure if you're Jerry's type. He tends to like them younger and blonder and dumber. So
Mark Hovsepian's 11th. He's got the Micah number right now. He's in Micah spot on the leaderboard. And there you go.
Oh, just messing with you. But yes, like I said, hopefully you can just keep the sandpaper for all your carpentry projects and not your personal projects.
Not these painful things you're discussing about here.
Now, Jerry Jones said, "You know that saying, less is more? You get more players when you pay them less. But if you pay them more, you get less players.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Jerry, that's very good. Good job. You did so great. Why don't you go lay down and take a nap and not wake up again?
Don't drool. How about don't drool yourself? How about that? Listen, we know about you pay. Why are other teams paying their players, Jera? And
maybe
we
can put the little rabbit traps. We can put him a griddle. With the little
He'll go for
trap,
it. He'll
and
say
then just
still.
Pull the string when Jerry gets
sign
drawn
everyone.
in.
Listen, the thing is, and again, I know Jerry's just trolling, but the point is that we know what Jerry does, and we know what he needs to do, and that is, he does not go after even our own guys at this point. It seems like it just seems that way. Speaking of our own guys, and by the way, thank you, Mark Hope-Sepping, Micah Parsons, number 11th place on the board right now. I just thought about Micah's thoughts about Trayvon Diggs. He said 7-11, we're back. It's fire, right? Heading into 2024 season, we talked about the safeties on the ranking list here by executives and people that rank these players. They did this to the edge rushers. And Micah Parsons is, of course, on that list, on that edge rusher list. Micah was ranked the 3rd best edge rusher in the league. So he did not get the number 1 spot on this as far as edge rusher. He's ranked as the 3rd best edge rusher heading into this season. Highest ranking he ever had, it was 1st. All right. Well, that's out of all the votes. He got some first place rankings here, ratings. The lowest ranking, someone put him 7th as the 7th best edge rusher. Like, what? How is Micah? How can anybody put Micah as the 7th best edge rusher?
I'd like to know the 6 names ahead of him on that list.
Of course, Micah's 25 years old. Last year, he ranked 3rd on this same list. He's 3rd now. And basically, they just go over the fact that, the Cowboy playoffs woes that we've had. Still, you cannot, even with our issue we've had, Micah has not been that issue.
Yeah.
Produces,
you got problems. Micah's not the problem.
Yeah, he produces through schematic changes, challenges, and, of course, in his situation, positional transfers and transitions. Of course, was a hybrid off-ball linebacker. Now he's a pure pass rusher, even though most of his, people in the edge rushing area are going to be bigger than his 6'3", 245-pound frame. Most of them are 6'4", 6'5", and 270, 80. You know what I'm saying? As an edge rusher. So he fought through all that, kept beating tackles off the line. And again, him and Hall of Famer Reggie White, only 2 players in NFL history with at least 13 sacks in each of their first 3 seasons. And last year, he had a career-high 14 sacks. He faced, according to them, 167 double teams. That is the most amongst all edge rushers. Micah said, quote, well, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Let me just put that. I'll tell you what Micah said in a minute about the 167 double teams. Okay. He said there was definitely more than that.
Nah.
But he also had a 35.3% pass rush win rate, which is nearly 5 percentage points higher than everybody else in the league.
Oh, gosh.
Everyone.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So they basically, an NFL coordinator, an anonymous one, said, quote, he has unreal athleticism for the position. He has twitch speed and bend is phenomenal. His issues are really more in the run game than anything else. When he has to take on heavy stuff, that's when you feel the lack of size a bit. And, the 2 things I said about Micah is the way you get at Micah is you run at him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't set the edge very well. That's why you run at him. You don't run at DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to set the edge and force the running back to have to cut into the rest of the defense, the teeth of the defense. Micah cannot really do that yet, and that is the lack of size. So that's where you have to kind of, if Zimmer can find a way to move Micah around the defensive line,
or
not just on third,
manage that.
Yeah, but on 3rd down and 7s, we know he's going to be blitzing from the inside sometimes. We know this from Micah in Zimmer's defense, but you got to move him around every play, keep the offense guessing, and kind of figuring out where he's going to be at. So they got to quickly go through their checks and switch some of their offensive, play calling because of where Micah may be. And yeah, all it takes is one guy out of the 11 to mess up. The switch. So
I don't think we'll ever see the return of Micah as linebacker, but it does make me wonder if Zimmer does have something up his sleeve. When it comes to, I'm just saying, maybe Micah on the D-line during a run game or a run play is one thing, but Micah at linebacker maybe
works.
Just saying, yeah, a lot of that really depends on, like you said, how Zimmer uses him and uses everyone else in conjunction with those plays.
I think when you throw some Micah in there over the A or B gap on those first downs, that could be more disruptive than having him at edge. because he could get in there and bust through there, make the running back take a one steps, hesitation, and that is enough for the defense to close around the running back. Then just having him at the edge, the left edge, constantly, and you could just run at him or run the opposite way, whatever you may be, and you make him irrelevant on those plays. As a linebacker, I don't think he should be a linebacker, but I think you can move him up and just have him blitzing in the run game on first downs and pushing the offensive line back into the running back, slowing him down that way like a missile, rather than just left side on all running plays on first down. That's silly. So I think Zimmer's going to come with a change there. We know that his double A gap mug defense, he's gonna mug the A gap with two linebackers, or I'm putting that in quotes, air quotes, linebackers, Kendricks and Micah, will be over center on some third downs and 6 and 7 and 8 and longer. And you're going to see a lot of that. That's Zimmer's bread and butter. And Micah, with someone like Kendricks, are going to be great coming off as blitzing linebackers. So I'm looking forward to how Zimmer does do some tweaks and some changes. But it's more, to me, when you talk about a run game, make him a missile on first down. On second down, you can rotate him all over the defensive line pass rusher. But on first down, make him a linebacker blitzing missile to disrupt the run game, rather than try to set the edge in the run game. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, Micah was ranked, again, as high as 1, and averaged to 3. But, again, being ranked 7th is insane. I don't care what you think about Micah Parsons. I think we all can agree on that. Micah was not happy with this. He had, quote, the most double-team player, but I only have the most double-team player, but I have the best pass rush percentage and the most pressures. You got to remember, guys, if he has been double-teamed the most in the NFL, but he still wins the pass rush win percentage, that's insane. That means he's getting double-teamed and he's still the best, even when he's double-teamed. And he also has the most pressures in the NFL last year. I mean, that's also a career high for him. And he had the career high 14 sacks. I'm just saying, double-teamed the most win in pass rush. He has the most pressures in the NFL and his career high in sacks. Micah's saying, saying that production is low, something is not adding up. That's what he's saying. Like, okay. Why? You know what I'm saying? So, for him, he said, quote, there is no way there was 167 double teams. Maybe closer to 500. Motherfuckers can't fuck with me, man. It's up this year on Mama's. 2 weeks. So, again, in 2 weeks, he's ready to roll. But I'm just saying,
like 500 is also...
Well, I think it's probably closer to like 300. But then the 167? Okay. I don't know. But my point is that somewhere in the middle of that.
I don't disagree. It sounds a little low, especially considering how many snaps you have during a football game. That basically means he was only double-teamed for like 3 straight games nonstop. Something about that does sound a little funky. I'll give you that. But even I admit 500, that's basically him getting double-teamed the entire game, all season, nonstop.
This is one clear thing about Micah Parsons. There's only about 100 data points that prove that Micah is better than someone like J.J. Watt. And you see that from many different outlets, not just one analytical group there, okay? But again, when you actually study both guys, J.J. Watt versus, who was ranked higher than Micah Parsons, there's really no comparison. Micah's the man on that. And, if you guys don't remember what Micah's about, I do agree. He needs to get some of the playoff stuff rolling a little better, but we're playing some really good teams. But Micah's the man. He's going to tear up backfields, pressuring, pass rushing. They're going to double, triple team him. I don't know, but we need other guys producing if he's getting stopped. Funny thing happened today, though, at his final youth football camp, which was held. He had a couple in Texas. He held one in Harrisburg, PA, today. And Micah, again, had a play. He's in coverage, which, again, as a linebacker, he's not to cover a little bit in Zimmer's defense. He was in coverage against this kind of skinny, geeky kid, and he kind of looked away from the receiver, looked at the quarterback, and then the kid kind of went out into the corner. Micah got, I'm putting this also in air quotes, he got beat in coverage. He kind of let it happen. It's a youth camp. Lion's Den. It's his youth camp.
Yeah, there's no way even a large child of that size has the muscle.
That wasn't. Yeah, we're talking about a different thing.
Oh, okay.
There's another kind of geeky kid who ran a route and kind of faked them to a post and went back to the corner of the end zone for a touchdown catch against Micah, who I think let the kid kind of get that touchdown. They were all celebrating. He kind of walked up embarrassed, but that is part of his youth camp to make these kids feel good. But the thing you're talking about, baby, which you kind of jumped the gun there on me there, but I'll get to that in a minute because there's another interesting little thing that happened with Micah Parsons on a position of need for the Cowboys. Mark Hovsepian dropping another 5 on it, baby. He got that 5 on it. What did the man say?
Number 11, Micah Parsons, will burn out playing defensive edge. He's too small, and the constant double teaming will and has worn him down. Move him around at linebacker. It's harder to double team him.
Linebacker, but to me, linebacker as a blitzing pressure linebacker, not as a linebacker that's off ball waiting for the run stop, because that's a waste. That's a waste. If they see Micah at linebacker, he's not blitzing, quarterbacks are going to throw the ball.
Exactly.
It's a waste, in my opinion.
That's why I said
as the linebacker that's going to play off ball linebacker. If he's a linebacker that's blitzing, I have no problem with that.
But yeah, that's why I had said earlier that it really depends on how Zimmer uses him and everyone else. I do agree 1,000%, though, if we continue on our current path, Micah Parsons won't even see his second contract. He's going to break down sooner than that, and not even because he's not keeping up physically or anything. Honestly, let's be real. Knock on wood, glad he stayed so healthy so far. A testament to his hard work.
Yeah, for sure. But you got to remember,
there's no ifs, ands, or buts around the fact that he is undersized for certain things at that defensive edge position.
And for overusage.
Yeah, exactly. If him being constantly double teamed, like most guys on the D-line aren't constantly taking double teams like that the same way that Micah's having to deal with, along with the type of focus that teams put into Micah Parsons and making sure that they contain him. So I'm just saying that type of thing means you're taking extra hits, extra chip blocks, extra
Of course,
everything.
listen, I watched the Eagles. The Eagles literally, the tight end, double tight ends, 12 or 13 personnel, one of those tight ends would literally come down. Micah's getting blocked by Lane Johnson. The second tight end comes down and cracks him blindside. And they double team him and bruise him up and they beat him down. This was in the game without Dak 2 years ago when we played in Philly and we had Cooper Rush. Watch some of that film early on.
Well, Seabass said, I wholeheartedly agree. Parsons can't be in one position.
Right.
He really excelled at both.
Right, and that's the thing, though. At linebacker as a pressure player is what I need. Him playing at linebacker as a run stopper only will probably hurt more than help. But I do think that keeping him healthy is by moving him around. Making the offenses kind of start thinking, okay, where is he going to be? We have to switch our blocking scheme now. If there's a change now because Micah moved around, they were maybe planning on running towards him. Now he's playing linebacker. He's playing over the A gap, so they're not going to just switch the game to a run up the middle now. So things change if you force it to change, and I think Micah being moved around is important. I just don't like to assign Micah the linebacker position and just say, let him go there and go in coverage, which is one of his weaknesses. Let him go in there and try to stop the run, which is one of his weaknesses. Off-ball linebacker or not, you're going to have a good defensive tackle to make a difference when it comes to helping Micah. Without that, Micah's getting run over. We saw it happen. Micah got run over playing linebacker, stopping the run as an off-ball linebacker.
Jared Jones also reminding us Quinn had Parsons lose weight like Mozzie.
Well, initially he had him gain. Well, initially he gained weight. He got up to 255, Micah. But now he's back to around 250, 245. It wasn't. I don't think it was a Dan Quinn thing. I think it was a Micah Parsons thing, in my opinion. Jarrah. Sorry, Jarrah.
All good.
But I do want to say Mark Hovsepian, 10th on our board right now. Oh,
with another
shit.
$2.
I didn't see that one.
Holler drop there.
Yeah, and he's getting closer to 9th behind Skeptical Fan. With that 2 on it, baby, what did the man say?
He said he can run blitz from both outside linebacker positions. He's small.
I mean, I have no problem with him being an outside linebacker that blitzes 3-4 style, but to me that's like an edge rusher.
I think
Same
the Cowboys,
difference.
at least internally, see it as if we don't have Micah on the D-line, we don't really have a Micah replacement. But if we don't have Micah at linebacker, we have linebackers that can play. I'm just saying that we have more options there. There's no real way to replace Micah's impact on the D-line with anyone else or in any way. I'm not trying to say, I'm just saying, I'm trying to see it from the Cowboys' perspective and maybe why they don't like to even consider moving Micah there.
That sounds like a Dan Quinn thing more so. But
let's see if that holds up with Zimmer.
Well, I want to just say this though about I want to reiterate because when I hear people say, edge rusher only, linebacker only, give him more linebacker snaps. We have to talk about how do you use him at linebacker. If you use him at linebacker to stop the run, that's a mistake. Even if you move him around as a linebacker, it's a mistake. You have him covering tight ends and running backs out the backfield. I mean, he can do it, but it's a mistake.
From linebacker.
Constantly. Every play, it's got to be you got 3 guys down, and Micah comes from inside, outside, A, B, C gap.
All the benefits of Micah and that speed and that pressure and that ability to break in and get inside without all the damage of him being on the D-line, taking all those extra hits. I'm just saying, it sounds like a happy balance. It doesn't have to be every snap.
Micah needs to choose, not choose, but kind of have an idea of where to blitz through, which hole to run through. Like, he needs to know which is going to be his gap busting deal. What is he can run in there and really disrupt the play, whether it's a run or they play action. Well, he's still throwing the running back 5 yards in the quarterback's face. That's what we need to see consistently from Micah, but not because Micah can't do it.
Yeah.
From the calls from Zimmer, from the coaches, to get him to use him like that so we can get him to last the whole year and be stronger for the playoffs.
He'd actually have a bit of an advantage, too, just because how many linebackers have intimate inside knowledge of the D-line and every little nuance of them? Pretty much no one, right? No. But Micah's basically a defensive lineman, right? He's a defensive edge. So what I'm trying to say is that he's going to know even more so than other linebackers the way the line is shifting, where they're blocking. Like I don't think he's going to have to think about it as much because he's going to know where those gaps are because he's the one helping to create those gaps half the time. So blitzing as a linebacker, it's literally just a matter of, hey, what is the D-line doing? What's the team doing? What's the other team? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that to me, I think that translates really well. And again, we're doing what comes best to Micah Parsons, not limiting him by labels and positions the same way that we had all our defensive backfield basically shuffling around to fill that linebacker hole. Like, we did not keep ourselves locked into one specific box, and it worked pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, you see what Micah does out there when he's at edge, or when you keep him moving around a little bit. You saw him in some of those video clips coming up the middle, the A-gap, from the left side, the right side. You got to move him around, and I just hope that Zimmer does that more than Quinn. I'm going to leave it at that.
It sounds like you're suggesting Micah plays like Von Miller.
A little bit. I mean, I want him from. I think Von Miller does not really come from the A gap as much. Like I want Micah coming from all the gaps, from all the areas.
Not
I think
a bad comparison though.
Von Miller coming from the outside. He's an outside linebacker by name, but he's really an edge rusher, kind of like Khalil Mack. Similar guy. He's an outside linebacker, but we know what he is. He's a pass rusher. And I'm saying these guys are more like Micah Parsons, built like Parsons.
I would say, how big is Von
Micah?
Miller?
They're all about the same.
About the same.
Micah though is the best out of this kind. We're talking about T.J. Watt. J.J. Watt, I'm sorry, or Max Crosby, or the guy from what's his name, Garrett from the Browns. These guys are Mason Crosby. No. I know
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett.
Took me a second.
These 3 guys are different in makeup in the way that the other 3 guys are, like Von Miller, Khalil Mack, and Micah Parsons. To me, Micah Parsons though is better than those guys I just mentioned. At least right now, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think he's comparable to those other guys that are 10 times bigger than him and get many more really true edge rushing snaps at, they've played their whole life that way and they're schemed that way.
Yeah, training camp is going to be very interesting for... Sorry.
I just want to say, I think Dan Quinn kind of pigeonholed, got lazy with the usage of Micah Parsons and kind of let him kind of just stay on one side most of the time or in a certain quote-unquote matchup situation, rather than using him to disrupt the whole whole offense.
I like what Seabass said here. Quinn brought what this defense hadn't had since prime, but he was soft and allowed folks to not perform or execute the objective of specific positions. Hooker told us that he dumbed it down for some players.
Yeah, so we have the audio of that.
Zimmer's like the opposite. Because Micah was saying he was struggling to pick up exactly what Zimmer was trying to put down early in the OTAs.
Yeah, and Malik Hooker, like you're saying, we have the video clip of that up there in the shorts section, but Malik Hooker said, listen, Dan Quinn had to dumb it down for guys rather than take your guys out, because Zimmer's going to take you out if you don't get it. So Zimmer takes you out and gets you a guy who can get it done. That's the mindset with Zimmer, while Quinn was like, I'm going to dumb it down. It was going to make the whole defense worse.
Yeah.
So anyways, look, defensively, Micah was out there with his youth camp, his Lions Den youth camp, and it was interesting, guys, because he was playing center for fun on one play. And he went up against a kid who was probably, I don't know, close to his height, but definitely I weighed him by about 100 pounds. This is a big, big boy right here. I went up against him. Now, you'd figure this is a youth camp. You got teenagers and stuff. This kid is a middle school kid, and I uploaded the video, guys. So if you missed it, go check it out. It's pretty crazy. But and the one I just uploaded was the one where he got beat out in coverage, which kind of he let happen. I don't know. He kind of let this happen to an extent, I guess. But man, he tried his best to be an offensive lineman, to set his anchor and block properly. He was pushed all the way down 5 yards back by this big kid who's in middle school. Micah Parsons, kind of made sure he mentioned as well. A middle schooler as big as a refrigerator. So, yeah. And Micah couldn't really stop this kid. It was kind of funny seeing that. But I do wonder. I mean, he tried to beat the guy in sumo wrestling, right? But he couldn't beat this kid, even if he's a middle schooler, even if he is,
I'm guessing, like you said, he wasn't
he's
trying as hard as he would against a grown-ass man.
Yeah, I agree. I think Micah just having fun. Now, Micah's playing center, but he ain't going to play center like Zeke. He ain't going to play center in the season for us. But let's talk about the offensive line real quick, because let's get back onto the top tens. And we talked about Micah being in the third-ranked defensive edge. We had two, kind of Donovan Wilson as a honorable mention at safety. What about at offensive line? There's a lot of guys we could talk about. I mean, yeah, there's a whole bunch of young guys. But when you look at the PFF grading system, it's funny because we have a kind of a little grid here which tells you which teams have had the most passing success relative to the general pass blocking effectiveness during the regular season last year. Basically, what I'm trying to say, what this means is which teams did the best with a bad offensive line. The Cowboys were 5th on this list. The Niners were 1st, Seattle 2nd, Dolphins 3rd, Giants 4th, Cowboys 5th, and Jaguars 6th. All those guys were like in the excellent range, where the top 10 was the Rams, Saints, Bengals, and Bills to follow out the 7 to 10 there. Point here is, though, the Niners, their passing grade was 82.8, but their pass blocking grade was a 55. So the 27.8 difference there. Seahawks 27.3 difference. Dolphins 23.4 difference. Giants 22.1. Cowboys at 20.6. We had a passing grade of 88.3. I mean, that's probably second best in the league. But our pass blocking grade was a 67.7. Not very good. Although I will say, out of those top 5 teams, top 6 teams, we had the best pass blocking grade. So, however you slice it, the Cowboys were so good in the offense, even with still a little bit above, I would say a little bit above average offensive line. So either way, Cowboys top 5 as an offensive line last year, blocking for the passing game. But now this year, we took a look at a couple of guys at the guard spot, which is where PFF took a look at and put the top 10 guys. Number 1 on this list was not Tyler Smith. Number 1 on this list, Zach Martin, baby.
Oh,
Zach Martin, guys. I know you're saying he's having every year you're like, well, he's kind of going to have a down year this year. He's going to fall off a little bit. But you know what? Guys, personnel around the NFL have named Zach Martin, and they also named Tyler Smith together as the best duo on the guard offensive line. But Tyler Smith was also mentioned amongst being one of the best interior linemen in the league. I think they talk about centers and guards here. But Zach Martin was ranked number 1. And I will say, Tyler Smith on your screen was honorable mention on this list as well.
Good for him.
So, when it comes to Zach Martin's rankings, he was ranked, of course, his highest ranking was number 1. His lowest ranking was 9th. You figure someone who's going to get a 9th in ranking there for Zach Martin, it's not going to get number 1 overall.
Must have been one weirdo.
Now, last year, he was ranked number 1 as well. So, again, I know you say a lot of people, not just you, baby, a lot of people saying, well, he's kind of losing it. He ain't really losing it.
Losing it for him. We are just so used to him playing at not just a high level, at an elite level, consistently, without fail, that the second that he has anything other than that, it is a step backwards, even if it is still at a highly elite level.
And that's my point.
That's literally the only thing.
And that's my point. Zach Martin is still an elite player. He's still wiping
the floor with everybody.
He's still a highly elite player.
Yes.
And he's number 1 in all interior linemen for 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. Back to back. So, Again, basically they're saying he's the top interior player in the NFL again this year. Last year he was number 1. This year is number 1. And they said it was a very close race, though, but he is the gold standard among NFL guards. Zach Martin earned his 5th consecutive All-Pro team last year at age 33. He is 33 now. He ranked 3rd among the entire interior. I'm talking about centers and guards. He ranked 3rd in run blocking win rate at 75.4. That means, 75% of the time he easily just dominated you in the run game. An AFC executive said this, quote, "He's slowing down a bit, but he's still really damn good. He's everything you want in a guard, and it's just about age and deterioration at this point." Now, again, another team executive, unknown name, he said, quote, I think he's got one more year at the top, and then a younger player like Trey Smith or Cowboys' Tyler Smith may overtake him. So some people are saying that Tyler Smith will eventually, in a year or two, he'll be number 1 on this list, with Zach Martin kind of falling off because of age deterioration.
Hey, if they want to fight it out at the top, be my guest.
We're down with that. Tyler Smith was an honorable mention. They said that basically Tyler Smith took steps forward in 2023. He improved from an 81.4 pass block win rate as a rookie to a 91% pass block win rate. So in the passing game, he was just elite. And again, remember in his rookie year, he played left tackle, so he was on an island. Now he's in a phone booth where he's even better. So pass blocking, you're not getting past Tyler Smith. 91% pass. That's insane. That's over. He's 10% better pass blocking from his rookie year. And according to an NFL executive, quote, he's the next one. Incredibly gifted, just needs more time on task. So another year or two, you're looking at maybe the best offensive lineman interior in the NFL right here in Tyler Smith. So good stuff there. And one last, I guess he kind of blocks too, right? Tight ends were also ranked here. And ESPN polled coaches, executive scouts for the top tight ends in the NFL. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Sam Laporta was 4th. Vikings Hawkinson was 5th. Njoku from the Browns was 6th. Dallas Goedert was 7th. Dalton Kincaid was 8th. Evan Ingram from the Jaguars was 9th. And Dalton Schultz was 10th on this list. Who was not on this list? The guy on your screen there, Jake Ferguson. But he was basically ranked the 11th guy here. Okay. Right behind Dalton Schultz. And they said that, he got an honorable mention among the league's top tight ends. They said that he is basically, look, they call him Big Biscuit here, but he's trying to keep going under Lunda Wells this year at the blocking, getting better at blocking and receiving. But basically they said that Ferguson broke out in his second year in the NFL. He had 761 yards, 425 yards after the catch, some yak there, which ranked top 5 for tight ends with the yak. That's Ferguson. According to an NFL scout, they said this about Jake Ferguson, quote, as an honorable mention, he said, quote, fierce competitor, has some swag to him, seems to have chemistry with Dak Prescott. He is a gamer. So again, Ferguson will be on his top 10 list next year, in my opinion. Now, as we finish up the top 10 list, I do want to give a kind of a shout out to a couple of young guys. We didn't do the receiver list yet, okay, but I want to give a shout out to a couple of young guys that are wide receivers. And there's a special kind of extra reason for this, and I'll tell you in a minute. But let's just look at when you look at the rookies that we drafted. And, here's the draft. And it's particularly the wide receiver there in the 6th round. You see him, number 18, Ryan Flournoy. All right. He got married during our last 5 days here. So congrats to Ryan Flournoy, who was married to his wife. He was married his wife Kaylee, last week on July 6th. So it was last week, not this week. He was married. All the best to him and his wife, and they're starting a new family. But again, he's also entering the NFL now this year in a battle to try to win a spot on this team. Another guy trying to battle for the spot on this team is going to battle Flournoy and others is last year's rookie in the 7th round, wide receiver Jalen Brooks. Jalen Brooks was not just working in his garage, but he was also in Oregon. And we saw, who was out there in Oregon? Brandon Cooks and Tolbert were working together, kind of in a cabin shit. They were doing some. We've seen the video on that. But we now know that Jalen Brooks joined them later on. He joined them in Oregon, So he's hanging out with Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Brooks in the mix now. It's good to see that. Cooks took Tolbert under his wing last year.
Yeah.
And Tolbert had a much better season. And again, you saw him, Tolbert continuously still working with Brandon Cooks this offseason. Now Brooks is under his wing as well, under Brandon Cooks' wing.
Again, this is where leadership and veteran players absolutely are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, this is why you get a veteran. Like Brandon Cooks or Gilmore or Hankins, right? So if Jalen Brooks follows the Tolbert route, the receiving core can even, the whole receiving core will get better because of the arrow, because of Brandon Cooks. Not necessarily his play on the field, but his ability to get these guys, these young receivers, heads right for the season. So, again, I love to see these young guys working hard. But, this is what it's about here. Our quarterback, he gets the whole team together. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But he also got rated. He got rated by the same system of ESPN scouts, executives, and coaches. The top NFC quarterbacks entering 2024, Matthew Stafford is number 1 on this list.
Okay.
Jared Goff is number 2 on the list. Dak Prescott is 3rd on this list. Brock Purdy is 4th, and Jordan Love from the Packers is 5th. But when you look at this list real quick, Stafford, underrated in a general sense. He's underrated. He's won a Super Bowl. Goff over Dak, though, I don't agree with that at all. At all. Although some people might say different now, but he's Detroit.
The problem is that Goff has now taken multiple teams way farther than Dak ever has.
True, but
even if it wasn't necessarily all him.
Again, we're talking about team or quarterback. So if you talk about quarterback, they're saying Goff over Dak. I kind of disagree with that. Another thing I noticed on this top 5 list, where's Jalen Hurts? No, they paid him $52 million. Where's Jalen Hurts on this list?
Sniffing Dak's jockstrap.
Yeah, I don't see him anywhere. He's not 5th. He's not 4th, 3rd, or 2nd. I'm just saying. It's interesting to see that.
Shout out, by the way, once more. A big mahalo to Mark Hosepian dropping a $5.
He got
dollar holler.
That 5 on it.
You know what he said? Zach is slowing, but is still good. The issue is Jerry Jones. Zach might re-sign for 2 years, but I bet Jerry Jones won't pay him and piss him off, and then we have no one to replace him.
We almost did that last year. We literally have to... Last training camp, you remember who held out? Zach Martin.
Yep.
Zach Martin wanted to get his 2 years. He got 2 years. Now what's going to happen after next year, or after this year, I guess. I'm not sure how it's going to... Is it 2 years after? I don't know. The point is, Jerry Jones could be breaking the whole offensive lineup here and have nothing to show for it afterwards. We're going to have TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman and Cooper Beebe fighting it out for Zach Martin's jockstrap. That's a problem. So I feel you right there.
Sorry, cracking me up with your little skin flute comment there. That was sorry. Just Vern Barr's in the house. Shout out to him.
Of course he is.
I just had a.
What's up, Vern?
Let me see. A little Dallas Cowboy, Seabass, Asmodeus, Jera.
Yeah.
Hollow Marco Seppian, Revelation, Ready Red. Shout out to everybody here chilling, hanging with us, and others, of course. But take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell. You guys can follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. Hop in the Discord as well. Link is in the description box.
We're finishing up strong here. Looks like we're going to crown most of the champions on our boards here. But I do want to say, finish up with Dak Prescott. That's the ESPN scouts and managers and coaches.
That's their interpretation of
that was their thoughts. But when you look at the NFL quarterback rankings from basically Pro Football Focus. Mm-hmm. Not Pro. PFF, I'm sorry, right? Not PFF. Pro Football. Oh, what's the name? I forgot the name. It's another Pro Football. Yeah, Pro Football Talk. I think it was. Look, the point is, they have their rankings of AFC and NFC quarterbacks. AFC, they have Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Herbert, C.J. Stroud. Then Aaron Rodgers at 7, Trevor Lawrence at 8, Tua at 9, and Deshaun Watson at 10. Those are some damn good quarterbacks on that list in the AFC. And the NFC, their top 10 quarterbacks. Caleb Williams from the Bears is 10th. Jared Goff is ranked as 9th on this list. Baker Mayfield above him at 8th. Kirk Cousins at 7th. Jordan Love in 6th. Kyler Murray was ranked 5th on this list. Hurts was 4th. Brock Purdy was 3rd. 2nd on the list, Matthew Stafford. And Dak Prescott ranked number 1. So Thank you, Pro Football Talk. But yeah, there you go. They put so a lot of people see these guys ranked in a lot of different ways. But you see Dak first, second, or third almost in every list. Same thing with Matthew Stafford. He's kind of first or second or third on all these lists as well. So Dak Prescott, making the kind of the news with his boot last week, right? I mean, remember Das Boot right there, Dak Prescott in the boot. But then we have a new thing this week we got to talk about. That's the main. This is the end of the show, guys. But this is the kind of the last topic, and it is what we saw, or maybe didn't see, from the retreat that Dak takes his whole team on.
Now I spy with my little eye.
Well, we spy a lot of guys here, and just saying this, guys, the Cowboys have their offensive skill players. That means quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends. No offensive linemen. You guys are not in this, but tight ends, receivers, running backs, quarterbacks get involved, and they go to a retreat with Dak Prescott. This is the third or fourth year they've done this.
Yeah.
And they always do it about a week before, 10 days before training camp, which is literally where we're at right now. So perfect timing. We knew this was happening, and right now they're back together, all the offensive skill players, for another retreat with the O2X group there, with that whole that SWAT military kind of mindset group there as a team, kind of build chemistry on and off the field. The offensive guys, of course, this is all led by one guy, the leader, the captain of the offense, Dak Prescott. This, they had one of these similar ones. They had different ones the last couple of years, like the last 4 or 5 years that Dak has done this. The last year and this season is through this military kind of, is it SWAT or
I think they're former Navy SEALs.
Navy SEAls. Yeah, and so they're doing this thing of basically focused team. They did it last year. They're doing it again, the same situation, similar situation, and it builds chemistry on and off the field. The one thing you want to look at this picture, though, right here. And you see a lot of guys all the way on the right. You see Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. See him over there on the right side with the little the cap on there, the black top hat there. Not a hat, but it's a do-rag. And then you have you move down the list. You see in the black shirt there, Brandon Cooks. I'm just looking at that first. Of course, Dak over there, more towards the center with some of those guys. But you see Ferguson. You see Schoonmaker. I see Cooper Rush hidden back there. I see Tolbert in the mix as well. Jalen Brooks, the rookies, Flournoy, all the guys are in the mix here. All of the receivers, tight ends. I'm trying to see if there's a running back or two in there. I'm not sure if I see any running backs, but the one guy that's the most important guy that I not see. I mean, again, I see Trey Lance in there in the mix. I see a lot of these guys. Mm-hmm. The one guy I don't see in the mix. You know what name I'm going to say, right? Where the fuck is CeeDee Lamb? Dak Prescott said he expected him there. Dak Prescott said that as recent as last week, a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. He said he expects CeeDee Lamb there. They throw in the ball some more, so it all should be, it's all gonna be just a little more practice before the actual training camp sessions, right? Well,
I guess CeeDee's too cool for school.
Well, CeeDee's holding out for a contract, and again, can't blame the guy for doing that, especially with this front office. So everyone's out there, tight ends, receivers. Running back or two. I don't see Zeke in there. But outside of that, we don't have our star receiver, who Dak said was going to be joining them. Now, let me say this. I do want to say we'll see more video coming out the next couple of days of what this whole retreat is going to consist of. We're going to see some of what they're doing, throwing the ball, connecting, whatever that is.
Maybe he's just tardy to the party?
That could be another thing. I'm thinking that maybe he'll make his fashionably late appearance with the Cowboys, just maybe not to be in this picture. I don't know. Maybe not to be in too much video. But the point is, CeeDee Lamb is either keeping things quiet. Maybe he's off to the side, not wanting to be in the picture. My point is, CeeDee Lamb is, as we know, as we see right now, the most we know, he is not with Dak, the receivers, the tight ends, the skill positions on offense. He is not with them. And that adds to the concern of CeeDee Lamb's holdout. So you're wondering about that question. Is CeeDee Lamb at Dak's retreat? No, he's not. He's got to look out for himself. Yeah. And I cannot, when you're dealing with this front office, guys, can we get mad at any of these players that go for the money? I'm sorry, you can't. Would you go for the money when you're dealing with these two assholes?
Jerry has certainly made it clear that the money is the most important thing.
If Jerry Jones thinks money is the most important thing than winning, then so will the players. And I'm not going to blame Dak. or Micah or CeeDee Lamb wanting to get their bag.
This is the mindset that we genuinely, literally instilled.
The Joneses push this. Now you gotta reap what you sow. You throw out hate, you're gonna get hate back. You're gonna throw out there cheap shit like Jerry Jones is doing and lowballing everybody, and you're gonna get back the same in return. When you make it about money as number one for Jerry Jones, which we know it is, then why won't CeeDee Lamb make it about money?
Right. If Jerry lowballs, CeeDee's gonna highball. Right?
Yeah, he's out here.
So CeeDee's holding his nuts on them boys. Fuck you, pay me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't blame them. I don't blame any of these guys doing what they gotta do. Like Dak's gonna play out his contract like he should, and he'll be a free agent. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. He's gonna make his money. So it's. We wish it could be more about the money. Joneses use that star on my hat. They use that star on our helmets to try to entice these players to take less money. They've done it for years, and it's not working anymore.
Heck, you watch the cheerleading thing on Netflix.
They still do it there, too.
They make everybody take less money for the star.
And that's the thing. When you see that happening, it just tells me the Cowboys front office have made this the problem. They've done it for the last decade with Stephen Jones running the show as a salary cap boy manager. And because of that, he's screwed up pretty much every contract since then. Not every single one, but pretty much every big contract. He's messed up, screwed up, rushed this one, and then do that one, and did things out of order. And so that is the Joneses' fault. And when you don't have a front office that is going to work with, like does not work with you, that lowballs you, deadlines, make deals, kind of bullshit, the clown show, when you do that, you're going to have Dak threatening to hold out. You know, when he was looking for his contract. You're going to have Micah threatening to hold out next year. You're going to have CeeDee Lamb holding out this year. You had Zach Martin hold out last year. It's not a surprise. They got to get their money from these two fucking assholes.
Right.
That caused the mindset trickling down in this organization. It's not the player's fault. I will not blame the player. You'll never hear me blame the player for trying to get their worth. CeeDee Lamb trying to get his worth. So it's unfortunate. I'm upset that he's not with Dak and the whole receiving corps. But I understand, as Chris Rock said famously. What did Mark Hosepian have to say, baby? He just dropped that 5 on it.
Yes,
what did the man say?
I predict we come in second or third and miss the playoffs. Dak will not be as good, for the O-line and the running back issues. I'm assuming in the division he's talking about
second or third in the division.
Dak needs a true running back, and Jerry Jones will use this to dump the head, basically kick McCarthy out the door, kick rocks with no socks.
He can still do that, without tanking the season.
I know, but it does feel like Jerry is setting things up, like I said, right on the balance of we're still going to compete in some fashion, but we're definitely not good enough to win anything. So he gets a chance to boot McCarthy like he wanted to,
and
get Bill Belichick in.
Well,
and
we hope, yeah.
We're assuming that that's obviously
I wouldn't assume that. I would say that's the hope from old MCF. But I think Jerry Jones, who knows what he's thinking?
True.
Let me be honest. I don't know about no Bill Belichick is the plan. He could have Bill Belichick this year, and he chose not to. He's rather blame McCarthy fully and get him and roll the dice on getting Belichick in town.
And Asmodeus, I'm glad you caught that trident too. I'm like, what the heck is this? We got some Aquaman shit going on.
I did not understand the trident, situation there at all, but I do find it funny.
Oh, Revelation journalist messing around saying, I'd rather have CeeDee hold in. Grab that walking boot, put it on. Don't lose any game checks. The problem is that will lower, he might not lose checks, but it'll lower his overall value, even if the boot is just for show. Ready Red said, man, let Charlotte run this motherfucker. I don't know. She's trying to...
She's a little Jerry Jones-ish.
Yeah, she's Jerry Jones, the female version. So, not sure if that's what I'd want. But final comment here. Seabass said, MCF, MCW, make that one of your merch. One owner away from winning a championship. These two just don't have a clue how to run a football team. Ready Red's right. Don't give it to Stephanie. Give it to Charlotte.
I mean, Charlotte, even if she will be the Jerry Jones mindset way, the way that we don't want to... We do not like this Jerry Jones Jr., Stephen Jones, Charlotte Jones. They all got the Jerry Jones fucking mindset. The difference is Charlotte Jones will know how to keep her ass out of the business. She will say, let me hire a GM. Not because she's a woman. Let me hire a GM because they are specialists at building teams. Not Jerry Jones ain't no fucking specialist at building teams, and he don't know that. He wants to say he's going to do it his way.
True. Charlotte knows that she doesn't know enough about the football side of things to try and meddle.
Stephen Jones is dumb as a rock. Stephen Jones thinks he knows it all. He's a fucking chemical engineer running the cap with his frat buddy, who's a freaking laundry the ball boy for a fucking high school team.
I know.
So those are the two guys running the cap. They believe they can run this show. You got Jerry Jones Jr., who I think is just kind of schmuck child, like the Fredo child of the group there. And then you got Charlotte Jones, who she would do a great job, I think, merchandising the Cowboys, selling the star and all that shit, which is what Jerry Jones loves. But you can do that and still keep your fucking hands off the team.
Yeah.
And that's what Charlotte Jones would do. She would actually say, hey, let me hire Bill Belichick so he can GM this fucking team and coach his team and take us to where we need to go. Because that's what she would know enough to do that. Even if I don't like her mindset, I don't like her style, whatever. It's about the glory, the glitz and the glamour and the whatever. Fine. Just stay the fuck off the team and the GMing part of it. And I'm talking about Jerry Jones. I think Charlotte Jones knows, let somebody professionally do it. Let me not force myself into this. Yeah. So Jerry and Steven, they can't help themselves, those assholes. And they're screwing us. They're screwing the star. They're the main issues. By the way, Marco Sipian dropped another 5 on it. And by the way, I will have to say on this, he just passed Marissa Sparkle on the board, man. I don't think I've ever seen a comeback this fast.
Hey, Mark said, "Hold my beer."
Mark is 8th place. He started off at 21st. He's in 8th place on this board, behind Chill Pill by a couple. Behind Chill Pill, much of the man Mark Hosepian. What did the man say?
I can see not signing Dak. Look at Dak, CeeDee, and Micah on a pure talent and oh shit basis. CeeDee and Micah rank way higher than Dak. Re-sign the other two, and then you get, Dak some help.
Well, I mean, I do see that to an extent. I know what you're saying. Like, to me, CeeDee Lamb is great, but what can you do with CeeDee Lamb with Jason Hoyer as your quarterback?
Yeah, you kind of need a decent quarterback
right, to make your receiver.
Any kind of value out of CeeDee Lamb.
The best value from the receivers, right? For your best number one receiver. So to me, that is where things kind of get a little rocky there. You can keep CeeDee Lamb. He's the wild guy, but who are you going to throw the ball to? A rookie's going to throw to him? A rookie that's the 20th pick? A rookie that's in the 4th round? You know what I'm saying? And we got lucky with Dak.
You would have to make some kind of move for like a mid-tier veteran type of QB. Not necessarily better than Dak, but probably more reasonably priced. You can't just throw in anybody, though, and expect CeeDee to make magic happen. Now, Mark Hosepian also said, with another $5 holler, if you added more talent and Dak still loses, then don't re-sign him for that $60 or so million a year, and if Dak wins, then give him his money. But Jerry Jones is an asshole.
Take the words right out of my mouth.
Again, similar to his first initial contract, we're sitting in this weird in-between fence area of saying, on one hand, that we want to commit long-term to him, but on the other hand, doing the exact opposite of that, and forcing us into a position where we ended up overpaying for Dak at the time. Right? At the time, obviously not
very
so much
short
the case
time.
now.
Very short time, actually.
But we're definitely in a position now where, again, even I have to admit, I'm not exactly jumping for joy at the thought of spending 60 million buckaroonies on Dak Prescott
per year
at this point.
We're hearing it's a 2-year deal, though. It's a shorter year deal than a 3 or 4 year thing.
That does, obviously, that changes things. But again, it still feels a little bit like we're not fully committing in a lot of ways.
For the future, no. For the now, with Dak, for 2 years.
But that's the thing. We're not investing in the now. So it feels like we're taking those 2 years and just throwing them in the garbage. What's the point of keeping Dak an extra 2 years if, like you said, we're not going to get him any help on the O-line. We're not going to get him any general offense.
Well, the help they're looking at is the rookies. We got some rookies there, even though we're just going to throw them in there. We got some undrafted guys for you. Exactly. TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman.
I'll make an easy one. What's the point if you're not going to sign CeeDee Lamb?
Right. I mean, then you're hurting Dak now. So you got a quarterback who can throw to CeeDee Lamb. But now you don't have CeeDee Lamb anymore. So you need both or none. It's kind of the way I look at that. So you can't say CeeDee Lamb's going to be the guy because then you don't have Dak. And then you have to hope a quarterback gets chemistry with him, is able to connect with him. We know that doesn't happen very easily. Dak and CeeDee definitely have that chemistry. By the way, Mark Hosepian with that drop right there, those back-to-backs, he just went from 10th to the 7th place. And I think he's another 5 away from jumping over Jet Li into 6th place. Wow. That's a big jump there from the man Mark Hosepian in a one-night status here. So,
and
appreciate him.
Anybody questioning your fandom is the one who needs to re-examine their own, because
Seabass is a real
definitely
deal.
One of the real ones.
Real deal Cowboy fan. Yeah. And we know he's an over-everything guy as well. He is a big, I've seen Seabass all over. He knows his football. He does love to discuss it, but I know a lot of us like to, right? A lot of us love our Cowboys, and we all discuss it in all different ways. Here on MCF, I like to hear them all different ways. Even if they're crazy, I like to hear it because we can just discuss it, talk about it, and I like to occasionally, kind of subdue some of the rumors, some of the hype shit. I like to kind of talk more real about it and kind of give you, listen, we can talk about some great players we can add to this team with the $8 million, $11 million, $12 million we have open on the cap. But the Cowboys ain't using any of that. I'm telling you right now, they're using maybe another $1 million or $2 million for 2 players or 3 players. That's all we're going to do. At most, we will use some for the UFL. So, you know, there's not going to be much more coming down the pike when it comes to actual real quality players that I know there's not many around right now, but even a Jamal Adams is a veteran guy. I'm not saying we want Jamal Adams, but I'm saying right now you're hearing the safety from Denver. He's in Dallas right now. Justin Simmons. People are talking about him, but we got 2, 3, 5 safeties already. I don't think we're going to need Justin Simmons. My point is there's still names out there. There's Gilmore. There's others out there. You can still kind of land if you say, Jamal Adams got $1.1 million. $1.1 million. You telling me there's other guys that we can't get out there? We know there's defensive tackles that are available. We know there's edge rushers or defensive, linebackers or corners out there that we can throw on the defense. On offense, we know that there's running backs still. Dalvin Cook's floating around. Other guys are floating around out there that we could make a run. I'm not saying we will. In fact, I'm saying we won't. But there's guys out there you can still get for minimum cheap numbers. Joneses, I don't know if they even give a damn. We might get another UFL guy.
Yeah, Ready Red. Maybe if Dak puts on one of the cheerleading uniforms, Charlotte might change her mind and let him back out on the field.
That would be... That might be impressive, right?
Oh, sorry. I kind of had to there. Mahalo once again.
Ooh.
Marco Seppian.
Another one.
Another $5 holler. You know what he said?
I know that drop jumps over the great Jason Renfro, a.k.a. Jet Li. Hiya! Right there, Marco Seppian cuts to the 6th place spot on this board. What did he say?
He said, does Jerry Jones think that Trey Lance can be that quarterback who isn't as good but good enough? It goes both ways. And my thing is, a $60 million quarterback can make an offense move with decent but not great receivers. And,
when you talk about Trey Lance, I do think that Jerry Jones is trying to put a lot into this Trey Lance situation because, well, it's his deal he made, right? Look, I think he's using this as almost a leverage situation. I personally think, here's what I think now.
Trey Lance hasn't been able to beat Cooper Rush out yet, we're still in the process of seeing that happen.
Yeah, but we're talking about is he good enough?
Yeah.
And right now he's not. But that's what I think Jerry Jones is going to wait for. At this point, that's what it's got to be. There's no real discussions. They have very few discussions, Jerry and Dak. Here's the thing though about this situation with Trey Lance. Let me just give you the story that Jerry wants to write you. Trey Lance does great in preseason. Trey Lance, you can just see he's gotten better with McCarthy's tutelage over the last 2 years. Trey Lance, is grown up a little more mature, a little more comfortable and confident in the Cowboys system because he's not put the pressure on as a high draft pick anymore. So just think about all these things and then just say, okay, if he has a really great preseason, looks really good, now is the backup for the Cowboys behind Cooper Rush. What do you think is going to happen in Jerry Jones' mind about this? That could sway the choice that Jerry will have to make there during the season. Now, let's say the opposite happens, or even breaking even. Trey Lance does okay. He's all right. Not looking great, but he looks all right. He's grown a little bit, or he looks like crap. Either of those two options happen, I see Jerry Jones paying Dak Prescott, whether training camp or whether somewhere during the season. That's the other thing. Let's say Trey Lance ain't doing that great. All right, or he's average. He's not really gained on Dak at all, or on Cooper Rush. He's gained a little bit, but the point is he ain't the guy. And Jerry wants to wait a little longer. Hey, week 8, Dak can get paid by week 8. I mean, just saying, it could happen any time in the season. Dak gets his extension off the final year of his contract. So I think Jerry Jones is going to wait to see how Trey Lance does. I think that Jerry Jones is going to wait to see how Dak does in the regular season, and then make a decision on paying. Again, Trey Lance can be paid. You can get him for $10 to $12 million next year, easy, just easy as our starter. But he's going to be trash. Or you can go with Dak Prescott. Once you see that maybe Trey ain't the guy and Dak is the guy still and is having another great year, then I think Dak gets paid. And could be week 8. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mark Hosepian with his $2 holler reminding us all of the knife that's about to get stuck right between our ribs, straight to the heart. You realize if Trey Lance sucks, we just wasted a 4th rounder.
Yep.
Again, basically multiply that times 29 years. Because that is the point. These half measures have not gotten us where we need to go. You need to fully invest, even if it means the team ends up not great for a little while. A genuine, hard investment into this team in a serious way. Right? If we do end up paying Dak and we do it for just those 2 years, fine, whatever. But Jesus Christ on a cracker. You better get this man CeeDee Lamb and then some. You better do for this defense what needs to be done. Step out of the way, Jerry and Steven, so that this team can be built aggressively, even if it's just for 1 to 2 years and it all goes downhill after that. Fine, whatever. But I think most of us would feel a little, just the tiniest bit better about losing if it wasn't in this half-assed, oh, but we tried. Like, you didn't actually try. You just showed up. Okay? And lots of teams can show up. Lots of people can show up. I'm tired of showing up to the playoffs, right? Because that's all we get to do. We get to show up for one playoff game, maybe 2 at most.
Right now, Trey Lance or Dak Prescott, I don't think that's the reason. Again, maybe that's the reason why you don't pay Dak. Because I don't think that we can overcome the front office and the disaster we've seen from them through all these years and these decades. And now we're at a situation where we got our entire offensive skill players ready to roll together. And the reason why CeeDee Lamb is not there has nothing to do with these guys.
Exactly.
It has to do with everything to do with the motherfucking clowns and the goddamn clown show. Jerry Jones and Steven Jones.
Yeah, the second that Justin Jefferson got his money, we shouldn't have even had to wait.
His money. Yep.
Jerry and or Steven really should have picked up the phone, called CeeDee Lamb's agent, got in a meeting, and T-minus 24 hours away from a contract. Why are we playing these games? What kind of money, you're going to save $500,000 maybe and cause all this drama and not have your number 1 receiver out there during training camp, during a pivotal season? What bullshit are we playing here? Anyway. Well, shout out once more.
I know somebody who's not playing.
Marco
Seppian in the house.
As we start to, wrap things up and wind things down, he said, with his $5 holler, if Trey is that, and we save $30 million in cap space, I don't see Jerry Jones spending that extra money. My hope would be that the $30 million and then, you do redoing CeeDee and Micah gets us a ton of talent. We could have $50 million open right now. We'd sign maybe one big name player with that, and then the rest are those veteran minimum guys, and then after that the rest of the money gets put on ice or whatever doesn't get paid to the few remaining big money stars because the cap and next year and in the future and this might happen. I'm so tired of all these potential possibilities. I fully acknowledge managing the cap of a football team is not an easy feat by any means, and yet other teams happen to do it all the time. The same times that we say, oh man, we don't have money to pay this person. How are the Eagles and the Niners and heck, even Detroit, since we brought them up earlier? How are these teams spending money that they also don't have on players that are more expensive and yet they don't ever sit there and have cap problems?
You never hear Howie Roseman saying, damn, we're screwed now for the next decade because we had to get rid of Carson Wentz's big deal. No, they did it. And they got to another Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but they got to it. They didn't win it because of Carson Wentz. They won it because of Howie Roseman.
Exactly.
That's who won the Super Bowl for them. They had a great defense, and that's why they got back to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is good enough, but he's not. He's getting $52 million now, right? So it comes down to, I think it's a combination of scheme, coaching scheme, and quarterback, and it's all got to fit. And if you got Jerry Jones involved in the shit here, it don't matter who you have back there. It's gonna take. I don't know if you could overcome that without having all three. When you have Jerry Jones tumbling the Jenga blocks down every single time, it feels like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some comments.
Yeah, definitely
final
some comments.
Do some shout outs there.
I do want to shout out though Marco Seppian real quick here. Just give him a big huge shout out with that drop, he just went into the top 5 list here for these last 2 weeks. Big shout out to the man, mahalo, aloha, from the man from Hawaii, Marco Seppian, repping that star over everything. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a couple of his 5 away, I think he's like 3 5s away from passing McLovin. Another 5, I think, from passing Pat Pfeiffer. We're talking about he's not far away from 3rd place right now as we speak, as we're wrapping this up slowly but surely. But we're down to hit up some question and answers here. So a couple of thoughts here before we get on out here. Because, again, haven't been here for 5 nights. We're here tonight, though, talking about our Cowboys. And, hey, we'll be back at it again, this week. We got 9 days before training camp officially kind of kicks off. So I cannot wait to get actual, real, substantive news from our current team in 2024 right now. That's what it's about.
Hey, we made it through the offseason, so let's see what the season has.
Almost there. We're almost there.
But yes, Rolando Rodriguez said, my Cowboys wife, I'm old enough to have seen all 8 Cowboys Super Bowls. I hope I'm still alive for the next one.
We all.
So
I'm
do
hoping
I,
that
Rolando.
too.
You deserve so much of that and more. All of us fans do. I mean, I know I technically was alive for the last one, but, I was in diapers. I don't think I was paying too much attention to football. Sorry to disappoint anyone.
We'll accept it.
I'm a fake fan.
We accept your apology.
Hey, Dan Quinn wasn't playing back then, so why would I care?
Much love to Mark Hopesepian in the house with the $5 holler.
Woo.
And closing in on that 4th place spot. What did the man say?
It's just the bullshit that gets me. Jerry Jones runs the cap as if it does not increase yearly. He runs it like a business spreadsheet. How can he be so dumb? Clowns.
Big time clown.
Because as the owner of the business that is the Dallas Cowboys, his mindset will always be to think of things as an owner first and a general manager second. That has been the problem since Jerry Jones started generally managing the team. And Steven is following in his footsteps because while I don't know the logistical details behind who owns what when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, I'm assuming when Papa Jones dies and Stephen Jones takes over and gets his share of the Dallas Cowboys team, that he's going to feel also personally responsible in an ownership way and not in a general manager way.
That's the biggest thing. The overlap of those titles is what gives Jerry Jones too much power and not enough. What is that when you have to have? I forgot the actual word, but the responsibility falls on you. They have to have I forgot something that the Cowboys lack. Accountability. That's what it is. Accountability.
I was going to say, isn't it responsibility?
Accountability is what Jerry Jones is. When you have a GM who doesn't GM right because he's the owner, there's a lack of accountability because who's going to fire themselves? So that when you see that coming from Jerry Jones, coming then down to Stephen Jones, going down to McCarthy, who keeps his job year after year after year with just some questionable coaching situations. Let's just put it that way. It just, but then McCarthy knows that this is the way the front office is, so he's comfortable with that. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys star players and the players on the team will eventually learn that the reason why the coach is that way and the reason why the organization is this way is because Jerry Jones is this way. Stephen Jones is this way. There's no accountability. Yeah. So you lose a playoff game for the 3rd straight year in a row. No accountability needed. We competed. That's all Jerry wants is competition. He don't want accountability. That's the reason why this team has hit the fucking poop chute for the last fucking 3 decades.
Profits first, winning second. Yep. Ready Red said Steven already took over. Now, he 95% took over, and I agree. But since Jerry Jones is still alive, kicking, and in the building, he still can overrule some Steven decisions. We haven't seen him do it in an overt way. I'll give you that.
Randy Gregory.
But there have been a few things, and I'm sure there are probably just things that we just don't see or hear about, where he overrules Steven or overrules what someone else wants to do. Seems like Steven is much more in charge of, basically all the team logistical stuff, and Jerry is cool with what he's doing, though.
I think most of the stuff that Stephen Jones is doing is cap management. That's what he's doing, and he's doing look, they try to play this hardball. They try to play this thing where they say, due diligence and deadlines make deals. When in the end, the deadline just forces the Joneses to make the same deal that the players wanted 3 months earlier. They don't make any. They don't make any kind of. They don't save money. They just lose money making these quote unquote deadlines, make deals, and due diligence bullshit from Stephen Jones, who's running that part of the show, in my opinion, that biggest part of that show. Anyways, Marco Seppi on another 5, and he's 5 away from 4th place. What did he have to say, baby?
Some questionable coaching?
Nah.
Yeah, I have some impure thoughts. He's recycling the same shit, making no effort to improve this team and piss off players.
Cannot disagree with that. 1,000%. You're right. And it's very frustrating to see the Cowboys, year after year, shit the bed, mainly because not a player. The coaching could be questionable, but they're held back. Even Garrett, I hated Garrett, but he was held back by the Joneses. Let's not fool ourselves. So in the end, the foundation is Jerry and Steven.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us, Seabass. Yeah, Stephen Jones, the man who is currently running this team, is the one who forgot a key player's name. It was
Detroit Lions. I think it was what's his name? Shit, I went blank.
No, we forgot the player. But guess what? We're not the general manager of a fucking team.
The Eagles got him on that trade day 2 years ago. What was his name?
Yeah,
Damn.
Look, the point is that Stephen Jones dismissed a potential trade immediately.
Yeah.
On site, because he didn't know who the player was.
Yeah. Stephen Jones
didn't even ask anybody.
He didn't ask anybody. That's the problem when a guy...
No.
That's the problem. When he's not saying that to Will McClay. DeAndre Swift was the running back's name, if I'm not mistaken. And there's no proof of who it was, but Stephen Jones didn't know who DeAndre Swift was. If you don't know who that is from the Lions to try and trade him for a 4th rounder, and you don't know who that is, and you don't tell anybody that you don't know who it is, and all you do is just kind of say, no, we're not interested, and move on, that's bad. Whether or not we would have gotten him, it's just bad ownership. And that's what we mean with people that don't know what the hell they're doing. These front office guys, whether it's Jerry or Steven, that don't know what the hell they're doing out there, and they continue to squander the good players that we have, that Will McClay helped find. They squander the chances for these players to win a Super Bowl, for our fans to be ecstatic about having a real chance to win a Super Bowl. They squash all these possibilities, and it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate because they're the ones that are GMing with no accountability, running this fucking clown show. From the top. It's coming from these two. And, Jerry's the face of the franchise. Stephen Jones is the asshole of the franchise who does not know how to run, I would say, a business. And I just wish I knew what the plan was. Like, if you tell me we're fucking up this entire cap, these contracts.
He knows how to run his mouth.
Yeah, we know how to run the cap. I'm sorry, we're going to get rid of Dak and CeeDee and Micah. We're going to get some trades. We're going to get some money open. What's the fucking plan? Right now, we're not getting trades. We're not getting money open. We're not signing anyone. We're just sitting stale. What happens next year when there's a problem. Now we got to pay these guys. Now the Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are going to bitch about it. It's a never-ending game that they play, and it's just tiring to some of us Cowboy fans who've been seeing it year after year, season after season, decade after decade, and almost another decade. So this got to stop. So I don't know. Anyway, so go ahead, baby. Finish it up.
Yeah.
The last comments and thoughts on everybody out there as we say the final shout-outs and crown some champions.
Yep, of course. Much love to Mr. Seabass, Ready Red, Asmodeus, Mark Hovsepian, Luis Salas. We have Rolando Rodriguez, Ramon and Carolina Jones. Let me roll back a little bit more. Jared Jones. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to keep going. Revelation Journalist, Senpai Jesus. Burn Bar, of course.
Burn.
Lee Side Herald. Little Dallas Cowboy. Godless Manitoban. Well, it's actually as far back as I can go. Mm-hmm. So, perfect little shout-outs there. So, guys, again, can't wait to see you all soon because guess what? The next, 2-3 streams you get from MCF, they're going to be the last
quickies, right?
Preseason streams because after this, training camp officially starts. We're in the official preseason,
We're officially in training camp season, I would say.
Camp, I guess, yeah.
Preseason, it's you're messing with me. We're in the end of the off season. And we're starting the training camp season, I guess, with the actual preseason a couple weeks after training camp starts. I think, what is it? I said we're less than a month away from preseason games, but we're less than 10 days away from training camp and the beginning of the true beginning of on the field battling for jobs, battling to see who goes where and what the depth is going to be on this team. It starts in 10 days. And that's where this season really we're gonna figure out some real things this season based off of training camp.
Yep.
So the first steps start now. Start in 10 days. I cannot wait. Let's see in these 10 days, will the Cowboys sign anyone? Don't hold your breath. You might die. The Cowboys probably will not sign anybody, and definitely probably not a big name of any sort. Not a Stephon Gilmore. There's a couple other guys out there they could. They ain't getting that. Don't hold your breath. They might get like a kicker or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So.
A camp leg. I don't know anymore what's happening.
At least Jerry's not thinking with his third leg. With that said, guys, again, thank you so much for hanging with us here, chilling with us. Again, can't wait to see you all soon. And you guys know why we do what we do here on the MCF side of things. But before we get to that, we have to give another mahalo to the man Mark Hosepian
another
here.
5 on it. And by the way, with that 5, I do have to announce the fact that the man is now officially, he jumped over McLovin. That's a tough guy to jump. He's over there into a 4th place on the overall board. I mean, I think it's going to be really hard for him to win this. But damn, I never seen anybody jump from 20th to 4th in a night, in a 2-hour stream. So big shout out to Mark Hosepian. What did he say?
He said, Jerry Jones thinks upgrades are to two rookie offensive linemen over 2 veterans, Zeke over Pollard, and a 7th rounder to replace Hankins, and some USFL guys for some receiver help. Am I dreaming?
And don't forget,
clowns.
Linebackers and cornerbacks, that's what we got from USFL, from the UFL. But, you say we're focusing on Guyton and Cooper Beebe, replacing the veterans, and then you forget the fact that the other guys that we have that we fall back onto, in case these rookies can't handle it, are guys like Chuma Edoga, if you're looking at a tackle spot. If you move Tyler Smith out there, now you're looking at TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman.
I feel like
both these guys are second-year guys, undrafted rookies from last year. So whether they're rookies this year with more value to them, or undrafted rookies from last year, which will be the backups and or possible starters still, that's who Jerry Jones has put in place. I love the rookies. I'm just saying. I love the backup guys.
Had we done things a little differently there at that, receiver position, at some of those other spots, I don't think that the O-line moves would feel as quote-unquote bad, because they're not bad in and of themselves. It had to happen eventually. We chose, I think, a strategically smart moment to do it as best as we could. It was never going to be easy to move on from Tyron Smith. I think we've handled it in the best way possible, but it's, like you said, it's that on top of all the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you have 2 rookies, it's tough
and by
sometimes.
the way, those 2 rookies are like $5 each, money-wise, in the sense of, like, it's not like they're breaking the bank. So Jerry could still afford to get more help if he so chose to.
Listen,
these rookies are not holding him back.
I talk about Bakhtiari, right, from the Packers, former Packer. He's healthy to go now. Why not pay him a little bit, make him a Jason Peters, and put him back there as the backup to Guyton, and you have a real backup if you need to jump in there for a couple games. You know what I'm saying? You got Cooper Beebe, but now we're going to have Brock Hoffman. He's going to have to fight him for that start. TJ Bass. Both, they're good for backups, but these guys are challenging for the starting spot with a rookie and Cooper Beebe. So that's the shakiness of this team, in my opinion. I don't mind Cooper Beebe. I'm sorry, I don't mind Brock Hoffman being the backup center. I don't mind TJ Bass being the backup left or right. He could do left guard or right guard. Backup. I like that. I love that as a backup. But as a starter, I need to see Cooper Beebe starting. I need to see Tyler Smith starting. I need to see Guyton starting. Because if not, we're shitting the bed and it's moving people around, getting other guys in there that are not going to be holding up their part of the deal for a span of 3 or 4 or 5 games. One game, you get TJ Bass in there. One game, you can use Brock Hoffman. That's why they're backups. But not as fucking starters. And that's what the Cowboys are going to plan on doing. If there's a fail with Cooper Beebe, if there's a fail with Tyler Guyton, we got Chuma Edoga. And well, let's go. And Awesome Richards. All these guys unproven. Chuma Edoga's crap. So if everything's on Guyton, He's going to get Myles Garrett week 1. He better be ready. Yeah, so that's the catch-22 our Cowboy team is in right now. Man, much love to the man Marco Seppian, who, right, you see him, 4th place on that board. An extra special mahalo to him for the love for tonight, because he's always, like I said, in 4th place after, we've all been busy here, right, in life and things here. So appreciate the man Marco Seppian with all the love. He's the only one who dropped the love tonight. So appreciate him big time. As we wrap up another week, maybe we do have to shout out the people that were running it last week, right? Like the king of the Cash App and the sponsor of the week, LC. Lincoln Kane. Much love to the man, Lincoln Kane. Sub it up to him if you haven't already. He does the late night stuff in Australia. It's actually, evening. Late afternoon to evening stuff. But here, and it's usually the next day, right? But here, we got a little Lincoln Kane here. He did for the States. He brings it to you guys like the After Dark sessions. So big shout out to Lincoln Kane, star level member, and now officially back to back in the Cash App and back to back as our sponsor of the week here on My Cowboys Family. Big shout out to him, and he is our weekly winner. So he gets an extra. He's already in star level. He gets a bonus raffle entry. Big shout out to LC there, and Marco Seppian. He might not have won the overall board. He came close, but 100 points on the Stream Boss. He's fully loaded. Locked and loaded with a full Stream Boss filled up to the top. Appreciate him. Big shout outs to him. And then Jason Renfro, Jet Li 44, who has been our champion 8 out of 9 weeks. I guess he can still win it because we got to push it to another day.
Yeah.
And another, whether it's Skeptical Fan who breaks the tie or Brandon J who breaks the tie. If one of them break the tie first, they win. If neither break the tie, and then let's say Jet Li drops 2 gifted memberships, Jet Li would go 9 out of 10 weeks as a champion. I just want to throw it out there so everyone knows. Again, don't look like it's going to happen tonight, but we'll see if we can claim a champion here whenever we go live next time. It's going to be a couple times this upcoming week, and after that, it's going to be a lot more often probably with the training camp season here. So cannot wait for all of that. Big congrats to Lincoln Kane. Big congrats to Marco Seppian. Big congrats to Jet Li 44. But whoever's going to take over the crown, whether it's him, Skeptical Fan, or Brandon J, it's a battle for the top spot. I appreciate all you guys, as always, in the chat, dropping your knowledge all night long as we get ready to drop out of here for the night. So, baby, is there any last names to shout out before we end this thing tonight?
No, we shouted everybody out.
Well, baby, then I got to know from you. Why did we do this? When there's NFL Cowboy news out there, and when there's Dallas Cowboy news out here, why do we do this here at MCF on My Cowboys Family as often as we can?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
I'm telling you guys, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly here on this channel, it's about that star over everything. That's what we rep here for 7 years into our 8th season on YouTube. Guys, never forget on My Cowboys Family, the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Much love to the chat once again for dropping the knowledge all night long. Appreciate you guys. Hey, you might see us on MCF After Dark Part 2. Remember, guys, there's a Part 2 out there now. So, if I might just do a music night tonight if I do anything, so keep that in mind. A little small panel. Sometimes I can get crazy. Sometimes I might just be just a little music and just chilling, But in case you guys don't know, a little, I think there's a little eyeballs showing up right now in the chat. So you look up MCF After Dark 2 and, find a way to go to our backup channel. We have the MCF After Dark, which is really a whole different thing than this. And then we have the backup to that channel, which is After Dark 2. So we'll get it going here, and maybe a little bit of, maybe 45 minutes or so, an hour or so, we'll be doing a little After Dark love. So, guys, on that side of things, we're done, set for the night. And, they want you joining over there. Well, she will, I'm sure, sometime soon.
Yes, this is technically a
it's a work night. Yeah. So,
and remember, guys, I have a more 9-to-5 job, so.
Yeah. So luckily, I have a little more freedom on my side. She got the 9-to-5. But either way, guys, on that note, thank you for dropping your knowledge in the chat. Appreciate the love from above tonight. Marco Seppian, all the love from above. Before we can officially drop out of here and clock out of here for the night, relock and reload for a new week and a new show tomorrow or Tuesday. We'll see what happens. baby, let them know what we got to do before we drop out of here for the night.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. That beat's been dropped. And it's a wrap right here. My Cowboys family. Another one in the books. Guys, thank you for doing your thing here with us. Asmodeus, Godless, Manitoban, Vern Barr, Ready Red, and the rest. Marco Sepian, Seabass, everybody in the house. The wife. I see you in there. Thank you all for rocking with us here on the Nightly. Here, my Cowboys family. Wrapping up a 2-week stretch here with us. Again, you guys could be anywhere right now. All 30 of you guys. But you know what? You're here chilling with us. As we wrapped up a good 4 or 5 days of Dallas Cowboy news, info, and updates on another MCF Cowboys chat, baby. You know how we do. So, again, thank you all. We talked about it all here, right? The last 5 days, the top 10 lists. You know, Dak and the group of offensive skill players that are missing. CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jones's paternity suit. Stephen Jones hiding back there, a little asshole. We know. The one new player, Eric Kendricks. You know, we talked about it all and more here on the Nightly as we do. Here in MCF, where it's always about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything. Hell yeah. Never forget the number one thing here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to all of you guys. We can't do this without you guys in the house, so don't forget to hit that like button for the stream. Hit subscribe for the channel. Getting closer to 40K, 40,000 subscribers, 40,000 family members, so thank you all for that. Hit that notification bell, set it to all videos. Follow us on X, Twitter, at MyCowboysFamily. Jump in the Discord. We'll see you on the After Dark and After Dark Part 2 sessions. And stay safe. We'll see you back here soon for a new week. Coming soon. Coming in the next day or two. Peace out. Stay safe. Much love. And never, ever forget, your Cowboys!
Monk on the beat.